Shalom, shalom, Yasharal, shalom, shalom, Ashbaka, shalom, shalom. I'm doing this live unexpectedly when I was sleeping. Yo, Jonathan, Jonathan, right? Hey, you wouldn't by chance mind like being on live for like a minute, or you?
Oh, I can't do it. I hate Facebook and shit.
Oh, I felt that vibe. That's why I asked first because I was like when we had talked about it. But is it cool if I just get like on a recording, like your voice on it?
Fuck, I can't do it, dude.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
not, I
okay.
hate that shit.
No, no, I feel you. I feel
And
you.
I'm not like religious at all either, so.
I know you're not. I know you're not. I was just gonna say like true or not true. Like I met you in jail, right? And yeah, and I forgot one thing about like the tassels. Like the tassels I already explained, but I just remembered like you had mentioned like this writing that I did. Like I wrote like a bunch of papers on the 12 tribes, and like you seen it up there, and you were gonna throw it away at some point, but
Oh,
then you're
yeah.
like, nah, I'll
Dude,
just see.
maybe hit me another day. I'm in a terrible day.
I understand.
I'm in
Yeah,
a
I
bad,
feel it.
not a bad mood. I'm just fucking like.
I don't even want to do anything like spectacular like that. Just, you know, I just think it's cool. I forgot about that detail, but yeah, I shared the bracelet and everything, and I thought because I thought that was just such a weird coincidence, right? It's almost kind of freaky in a way, you know.
What? All the bracelet thing?
Yeah, yeah. Like, and we ended up in the same house together, and girls wearing the bracelet. You know, I was like, I can imagine you probably felt like, what the heck is going on?
No.
But that's yeah, bro, from above, man. But nonetheless, I don't want to stress you out anymore.
No,
Taking
I
more
might
time.
another day, dude. I'm just in a fucking weird.
Yeah, I know. I feel you out, bro. You know, that's why I was like, nah, let me not do it because that's why I didn't put you on right now and nothing like that. I know you're trying to handle your stuff or whatever. But
Yeah, I got fucking. I just got.
don't worry about it
Okay,
because I
going
got it.
back
I got
to
it. I got it on live right now, so I don't even want to. Yeah, like I was gonna surprise it. I thought you would. Yeah, with the hope that you would be like, yeah, go for it, and be like, what's up, man? Okay. Yeah. So you're cool. I didn't put you on though, so I barely got you just saying a few things. You didn't say nothing crazy. You didn't say nothing wrong. No, you're cool. You're cool. So, but you're right. Are you right with that? I can just delete it right now. That's cool right there. You didn't say nothing crazy, nothing bad. All right. But appreciate you, man. Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah. Yeah, that's the roommate that was telling about the celly. I was in jail with him, man. You know, and he was like next door to my jail cell. Now he's next door to my door. My roommate. So I think that's wild. But you heard him. He's not trying to be on camera. Maybe not today. And I felt that off of him. I asked him before, and he was kind of like, yeah, maybe. But then he was kind of like, kind of seemed like he was dodging it a little bit. And I think maybe why I don't know if you heard him. He said he's not really religious. I don't think he wants to really be a part of anything that gives credit to anything religious like divine appointments and yeah stuff. Because once we start going there, he seemed like he wasn't like he can see it, but he didn't really want to take it that way. Like, nah, I don't want to believe that. And we mentioned that before. Like he's a guy and his chick's a dude, and not like a dude. When I say dude, y'all know what I mean. If you don't know, if you're new to this, like, what do you mean by guy and dude? So in the Hebrew, the word for Gentile, someone not coming into with Yahuwah is goy. Goy is the Hebrew word for Gentile, but in the Paleo Hebrew, it's not Goy. They changed the vowel sounds. The original would have been the ua, so it would have been goy or a guy. The way we translate. So it's like, hey, in the wordplay, it's guy. And then dudes, what we call dudes is like if you look at the name of Sovereign Dawood, Malk Dawood, King David, Malk Dawood. In Hebrew, the Abari, the original Abadi, Paleo, it's just the letters D-U-D, dude. And then they added the A to make it high and lows, like what's up, so it was Dawood. And then they turned a U to a W and a Y, made it Daweed. So they just added sounds to it, but originally it's just dude. So when I say dude, it's like a term like it's referencing King Dawood, but it's referencing someone coming to the Yah, like he's a David. He's a David. He's a Yasharali, a Natsarim. And if I say he's a dude, he's a David, he's Daoud. He's in covenant, a believer, in other words, for short, lack of better words. Um, if I say they're a guy, goy, Gentile, they're not covenanted. They don't consider themselves believers themselves. So, it's nothing derogatory, just kind of like English wordplay on what we already use makes it easy. But anyways, yeah, you can see his resistance. He was cool with it though. Like, and I don't know, I felt like who would let me to do it that way. Um, just did, because I already knew, on a subconscious level, we're all like we can read each other minds in a sense in this realm where I'm at. And like anytime I kind of thought I wanted to approach him, he would like he wasn't around. Like he would just floom, be gone, disappear, walk through walls or something. Like where'd he go? And so I picked up on that pattern. And so I saw him chilling, and I was gonna ask him, but I knew he would say no because I can discern in the ruach because it would kind of give you know reverence to Yahuwah, and I know he wasn't trying to do that either. Despite the coincidence, I wanted to do it as a witness just to show you like what I was telling you was true, but I think he said enough to kind of let y'all know because I was like, true or not true, we were in jail, and then I was like, true or not true, like you know, you had your girl had the bracelet. That's crazy, huh? Now and then he's like, oh yeah, the bracelet, the tassel, So he said it, and you can catch that. But and then the other thing that he was talking about, like what I mentioned, what came up to me that I forgot he had told me about was while I was in there, you know, I wrote a bunch of papers. I wrote like a big old excerpt on like the true way of Yahuwah, Yahusha, the doctrine, because they had like this table for religious material, So there was like Bibles, there's even like some New Age stuff, or a little bit of some Buddhist stuff or Islam stuff, just like one or two things, here and there for that, something else, but mostly it was all biblical. And so whatever there was biblical material, people would like pick up and read it. So I decided to write my own, or what Yahuwah inspired me to write, and I called it the True Doctrine of the Way of the Natsarim and Yahusha Mashiach or something. I literally called it that. So they're like, what? And then it starts off like with like, who is Yahusha? Yahusha says he's the way, the truth, and the chai. Psalms 119, says he's the way, the truth. The word is the Torah is the way, the truth, and the chai. So he's one with that. He's also the law. He said I'm the Al and the Ta, every letter in the law. Alpha and Omega is referred to Psalms 119 when it talks about the law. He's every letter in the law. He's every letter in the Torah. He's Psalms 119. So I brought those things up. If you love me, keep my commandments. I brought that up, and I'll give you the Ruach of truth that leads you into all truth, referencing back into Psalms 119, 142. Every time, I promise you, there's no planes until I get on live. At least I'm not aware of it. It just seems like they do whenever whenever I'm sharing the word, some loud ones. Nonetheless, yeah, I reference Psalms 119, 142. Your righteousness, righteousness forever, and your Torah is truth. And what is truth, right? And what do you mean by that? Matthew 5:17. Don't think I came to do away the Torah and Nabim. And then, so I went into all that. And then what is the renewed covenant? It was Nabud. It was foretold. And I brought up Jeremiah 31:31. I'll make a new covenant, New Testament. The idea that they were even waiting for a New Testament was from Jeremiah 31:31. And what is the stipulations of it? Because they would have to be in line with that, to trust in that covenant, to put the Torah in your mind and your inward parts, you know, and from the least to the greatest, all shall know me, and I forgive their wickednesses. So there's a forgiveness of sins from Yahusha, and it's supposed to be the idea of renewing our mind by putting His Torah in our inward parts. Then I brought up Ezekiel 36:25. I'll take the heart of stone out of your flesh, give you my lap of flesh, and put my Ruach HaKodash within you. What's the gift of the Ruach designed to do? To cause you to walk in my laws, my Torah, my Tarat, and to guard my right rulings, and you shall do them. So I brought that out, and so like all of that, and then who are we? Grafted in, but even then, like a lot of the ethnicities describe what the 12 tribes describes in the what happened to them in the last days. So I put a parallel thing connection of how America's Judah, and Joseph, Ephraim, Menashe, African Americans. They've been sorely grieved and shot at and hated, but the oppression, black oppression, but the arms of their hands made strong. The black strength. They Yahuwah esteemed them, gave them strength, and they dominated sports, and they're talented in music and acting and politics and all kinds of stuff. They're very talented. I shall barack you more than the brothers. With the duo Shamim above and the earth and the field beneath, the fruit of the ground and all that. Just be very Baruch, but beyond all the tribes, and they are. And the fruit of the body, fruit of the womb, fruit of the breast, all of that. You got it. And then Issachar, the donkey. Oh, that's us. We can be obnoxious, we can be loud, we can be stubborn, but we're short, we're strong, and we're short, stubborn, and but strong. And that's a donkey. The beast of burden doing the hard work, and we have the signs of the times, knowing what's going on, the hidden treasures of the sea, and the hidden the hordes of the wealth of the sand and all of that. We have that, the understanding of the tribes and the doctrine. If you tap into it in the Ruach, Philippines as Asher, tribe of Asher, feet anointed in oil. They got the elongated foot, but Asher means joyful. They're the most joyful people in the world when compared to all the other nationalities that fit all the other things too. That's them. They have the delicacies of sovereigns. They got all these exotic fruits, exotic things you've never seen anywhere else. That's the delicacies of sovereigns. Let their brothers not reject them. Let the brothers hey, y'all part of this. So that's Philippines. And then you got Asia, which is Levi and Simeon, all Asia, all the 48 countries. Asia's only had 48 cities, 48 little portions throughout all the 12 tribes. Asia is 48 countries throughout all Asia, throughout all the mixed multitude, just like the tribes. There to them is a Urim and Thummim, Yorim, Tumim, which is black and white rock to cast lots, have energies, keep the balance, keep the way they should go, from Yahuwah, and that black and white rock is where you get the yin yang art from. See, you look up Urim and Thummim, you're gonna see yin yang art is the same thing. Cursed be the Radford is fierce. Asia, they're Japanese by the sword. The sword is their weapon. Cursed be the Radford is fierce. They're known for being fierce people. Blah, 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 that's my Japanese impersonation. And samurais, and they've Chinese and Japanese death tortures. Cursed be the Radford is fierce, or fierce, man. What they did, hamstrung oxen, animal torture stuff. They're known for it. To this day, you can Google this. What they do, they like torturing animals. It's just a thing they got. You know. Anyways, yeah, you see all that over there. Anyways, that's Levi and Simeon. To them is the Kahana, the dwelling, the Mishkan, the dwelling of Yah. So they're a monk like meditative people, like that's what that is. It's that inner Louis inside of them to seek the face of Yahuwah. That's what the monk spirit or Ruach is about. They just mixed it up with different ideologies, but really they're Luim seeking out Yahuwah's face. And because of it, they were steadfast towards Yahuwah. They forsook their families, their wives, their children, for the sake of Yahuwah, to be alone in isolation, to seek the face of Yahuwah, and did not regard their own family. And of course, even to the point of putting them to death, because that's where you see Luim later on is fulfilled when they're in the wilderness. And that's when Masha's like, those who are for Yahuwah, stand on this side. And the Loim all gathered to Masha. And he said, all those who are against Yah stand on that side. And he told the Loim, go and thrust them all through, just like they did at the slaughter at Shechem of Dinah. So they thrust through their own family, brothers, sisters, children, cousins, friends, all of that, for the sake of Yahuwah. They didn't regard their family. And that's like that, almost like kamikaze type spirit. Like they don't care about dying for Yah, or like killing their own people for Yah, or whatever it might be, for the sake of, you know, because of treason, or rebellion or rejection or opposition or whatever, for traders and stuff. So that's their ruach. That's what they do. So mosquitoes, you gotta get them before they get you, man. It's like demons in the flesh. Mosquitoes, they're a manifestation. They're relentless. They don't got no peace with you. They just gonna bite you, eat you alive. Anyways, God, Don, Native Americans, all the Native Americans, North American natives, Don and God. Uh, Yashashkar, Issachar, Mexicans, Zabulon, Naphtali, Central South America. It's all in the mix there. God and Don are also islanders and stuff. You're Hawaiians even and all that. Like Naphtali, some of them too. Like it's all mixed from there. It's like they're all kind of just mixed islanders. God, Don, Zabulon, Naphtali. They're fast too. So Naphtali, is that the one that's fast? Yeah, that might even be some of them African cultures too. I don't know. Fast. Who's also fast? Because I consider more the African dark Africans descendants of Ham. The Hamitic people, the Egyptians, descendants of these. They can't all be Israelites. Someone got to be Ham. Someone got to be, you know, the real Edom. I say is the Roman Empire, the Italians especially, mainly. They're the daughters of the whore. The mafia operates just like the Vatican does. That's what the movie the God Father is all about. You see the second one. They every time they put a big hit on a major leader in the God Father, you always see them doing it at a religious event, like at a Catholic event, like at a yeah. They always my bad. My phone's breaking up. We'll see if there's any glitches later. But oh, by the way, these phones are all different too. For people that are like, man, it's his phone. It's like his phone's got some glitch, or maybe he's bringing up all that cosmic stuff. I've had like 3 or 4 phones since the very first one with the crown, and all of them brought up glitches. You give me your phone, and your phone's gonna make me glitch up because I'm kind of like Penelope, from Wreck-It Ralph. It's just I'm connected to a lot of the we call it all the realms, because I do the math. I do the math right. So it's like the it's like I'm in pre AP right now, calculus college when everybody's still kind of like in first grade, second grade, and just thinking it's just this life is like you know doing right and yeah doing right. Let me tell you how to skip up to pre to calculus and all that. This how you skip classes. This is what it's about. Let me try to catch you up. It's about taking every kind of situation that you're put in. I'm gonna go inside because I'm getting bit by mosquitoes on my feet. That's why I keep pacing around. Mosquitoes are demonic manifestations. I'm not saying mosquitoes are demons. I'm saying they reflect their nature. Everything in creation is a reflection of spiritual cosmic realities manifested in flesh, giving you a glimpse like little engineering parts of cosmic spiritual realities. Mosquitoes are displaying the innate, relentless nature of demons to just want to suck you dry, just want to eat you alive. Don't care about your feelings or nothing. That's just what they eat. Souls, they eat you. You give them the energy, they'll eat it. It's all of that. Anyways, all right. I had to find somewhere where my phone is not tripping. Nonetheless, let's see this. You want to skip? You want to figure out what this is all about? This is how I feel like I fast tracked. Subconsciously, I didn't even mean to just stumble on it. Your mind is so fixated on the word and Torah. It's all about Torah. That's the nucleus in the fruit of the Ruach Yahusha. So that's the nucleus. Imagine of every alternate universe reality, like every universe that can possibly exist, whether it be aliens or like new stuff that's gonna be or whatever. Like we're blue, we're We got wings. We can fly. We have powers. Whatever it is, whatever kind of alternate universe reality, they all have a central theme. It's like, what does that look like built with the Torah as the foundation and the fruit of the Ruach of Yahusha? They should all have that in common, and that's why you see movies like Star Wars, for example, is a parabolic picture. When you see them, they have the council where they come together and they have like the Senate and all that, and then they all gather from all the universes and galaxies, but they're all very civil, they're all very ordered. That's the great congregation, what they call the great assembly. Like where it's a reflection of that. Like when Dawood says, "I have praised you in the great assembly, in the great congregation." I don't like the word assembly because it's got the ASS, and I'm like getting very meticulous about wordplay. So, Dawood says, "I praised you in the great congregation," right? And Yahuwah just, you just think like, what is he talking about? You think it's a literal congregation, but you just meditate a lot with Yahuwah and the Word, and he just gives you this instinctual knowledge, like this, intuitive understanding that it's talking about like the great congregation is before all creation in the cosmic realm. That even though you can't see them, you're standing before them. They're all watching you. So like Dawood was aware that when he was praising Yah and doing things, praising Yah, he in his mind part of his conscious, subconscious, or even focus was that he was intently doing it for the great congregation to see. He's like, I praised you in the great congregation, like in the midst of all creation. Like he was aware of the stars and the universes of the stars and the grass and the trees and the air and the sun. Imagine if all those elements had like their own type of universe and their own little type of beings for it. Like you got little grass universe beings where it's like people have hair made out of grass and beards made out of like you know grass or something like bushes, and they're green skin, but then they're like a type of fairy, a type of angelic being, right, cosmic being, but yet they're all connected to Yah too. Because I've seen these things, water beings, malakim of the water, malakim of the grass, malakim of fruits and trees and fragrances and all of that, and they all have to have the root uh, in the word, and that's like Yahuwah lets you look into some of those. There's fallen messengers from all these realms, and so like they'll try to create like a counterfeit version of it all, and then you have to straighten it out. You That's where you fast track. It's like, mm, this is not in right operation according to the word. It should be more like this, and the way you do it is just by correcting it in your mind. You're looking at it. The conviction is your correction. When you're convicted about what you're seeing that that don't look right, then you're actually adding cause to that in the spiritual, in the ruach realm, in the cosmic realm, and then you start to see everything kind of follow suit, like it starts to line up because your intent is so strong. It's not just the conviction, but the intention, like the firmness of your integrity. Like you might have like a soft boss that's like, "Hey guys, whenever you get time, you think you can do that? If you can, no rush." And then you'd be like, "Yeah, whatever." Like, well, not me, but employees. I never think that way. I know they're being nice, so that makes me want to do it even more. Because man, they're being nice. Why do they have to be so firm, mean, just for us to like respect them? They shouldn't have to demand respect out of us, like because they're firm, so we're doing it out of fear. So when they're really nice, oh yeah, I'm all over it regardless. That's the key. That's a fundamental building block of the foundation of all the realities. For example, so but nonetheless, it's if you're a little too nice though, those you can be a pushover. Like that's where spiritual warfare even takes over because you're allowing them to have dominion. You're like, okay, fine, like you can afflict me or do this, but when you're like, no, and the intent's there, it just grows out, it just matures from having dealt with so much, or just had enough, or you have a breakthrough in something that gives you the strength. It's like working out. Then that firmness, that strength, just gonna, you're gonna arm wrestle it down every time. And so it's just that firmness, like when you have kids, do you let your kids run all over you, or you're like, hey, put that up now, and they do it right now? Or can you even tell them, like, without even having to be like that, but they love you and respect you so much because how you operate with them? You're like, hey, buddy, do you think you go ahead and put that up for me? That we shouldn't have that out there like that. You can tell them off, chill. And they're like, oh, yeah, sorry. Then they go and do it. So that's like a reflection, too. Like, of the cosmic realm. When you see things going on, you're kind of like speaking to it that way in your ruach in your subconscious. You're like, it's just like you just and you're staying locked in. You know, like something's buffering. It takes a while. It's like loading, loading, loading. What happens if you back out the page and you messed it up? You gotta start all over. So you gotta keep that focus. Like you're like just being present. You're kind of staring off and focusing on the reality. Like, okay, this should not be this way, and you're just staying locked in until that meter takes full effect. You're like loosening that. You know, it's like slowly permeating everything, and then you start putting out. It should be more like this, and then that starts to go out, and you're so serious and firm about it at the same time, but gentle that it penetrates people. Pick up what you're putting down. The air picks up what you're putting down. The trees, the nature, the fish, the ants, everything except mosquitoes for some reason. Because you gotta have that element that shows this relentless. Demons will never be your friend. In other words, you cannot make your peace with mosquitoes. Math equals you cannot have demons genuinely turn back to righteousness. If they're being right, if they're being dope to you, kind to you, they're just trying to win your heart and get into covenant with you so they can get inside of you, get in your head, later try to destroy you, but then you'll be too intimately connected with them to like fight it off that connection. Then that's when you're a pushover. You know, you already have let them take advantage of you. I've been there. I'm telling you about personal experiences where I thought demons can be friends and do the righteous, do right things, and they can't. They're wicked. So I don't mess with them no more. So for a while, I was even having them under my control. Like Doctor Strange was a parable that manifested after I was going through my experience. Like everything materializes like in a movie usually. um, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, he kind of like resurrects his dead body, uses that version of himself. And I was dead. I was like in my sins and messing around with black power that I shouldn't have messed with. And but nonetheless, my soul was like dead, but yet a spark was still alive to do what I had to do with Yah. And but then I was able to like control them, and they hated it. But they had certain amount of energy that they had already invested with me where we were in covenant. Think of it like a merger, like between companies. Like you have this company and it combines with another company, and then so as long as those companies are combined, like it's a buyout, like they're buying out the other one. Well, the other one, they're slowly transitioning the power over. So it's like, you start to slowly fire off these employees or stop implementing certain things that belong to them and bring in new things. It's kind of, I mean, you can get the concept, but imagine it happening on the Ruach, on a spiritual level. So it's like the energy that we have entered in where I was theirs, but then when we accumulated ruach and works and righteousness for a praiseworthy task that Yahuwah found favorable, that He approved, and that's what it's about. So it's trying to find that how we can work this out for Dul, and that's why you become a child of Yah, because you're finding light in every dark corner and every kind of. Basically, the name of the game is, can you turn darkness into light? Can you make every situation light? Can you find how the word of Yahuwah, the Torah, the fruit of the Ruach, the word of Yahusha, the ways of Yahusha can operate in light? If not just preaching, yeah, like Yahusha is the way, the truth, and the Chai and salvation, but actually operating what that means, like his nature. That the message of salvation is great for humanity, but what does it mean to actually live it out in regards to creation, to the universe around you, all the other cosmic alternate universe realities, so can you make effect in it with the mind of Yah? And that's what it's about. That's parting the stilling the waters, silencing the storm, parting the water, all of that, the miracles, right? In the Ruach, moving the mountain. In other words, moving the mountain. A mountain is always symbolized as a nation or power. Like, oh, you mountain Lebanon or Asher, you great mountain, we're gonna bring you down low to the ground. We're gonna flatten you. So they always use mountain as like just a strong force, a strong power. So it's like moving a mountain is like it's like going into a culture like a like let's say it's a gang culture out there in the streets, and they're out there smoking, selling drugs, cussing, music playing loud, uh, drug, sex, and alcohol. And then you can go in there and slowly start chipping at that mountain. It starts to dissolve like cotton candy, and it dissipates, and like the music gets turned down. The people stop being less belligerent, stop cussing. The women stop coming out dressing less provocative, stop dressing more moral, stop cussing as much, stop talking about negativity, start talking about more positive things. You just see that mountain move. That's the mountain, and then all of a sudden you have this new cultures, new reality that's starting to take shape right in front of your eyes by keeping your meditation on the Word of Yah, keeping it sweet, because then we're all connected. So your intent has to be strong enough that it's being impressed on everybody at a subconscious level that they're picking up what you're putting down, and they have to choose. It's obviously free choice. We all have free choice. People are choosing every day to choose to reject that and choose whatever they want to choose. And whatever they're choosing, if it ain't the Word of Yah, what do we say? It's fleshly desired, meaning it's something you like, but it's also demonically inspired, meaning it's an agreement with the ways of the opposing spirits, the enemy. If it ain't the Word of Yah, it's from a demonic source. They're like, hey, why don't we just do this? And they pretty much want to do anything other than the Word. It can be anything, you know, vanity. It can be whatever. Don't have to be like evil necessarily. Just an escape from the Word itself, not having to submit to it, wanting to do things your own way, without that authority of the Word. That's it. But our job is to just stay meditative. We have to stay at 5G tower for the Word and always imagine what it should look like. When you see it looking right, you can feel it. You're like, oh, this feels pure, positive. This is it. When you feel it, reward it. You give it like you want to reach in and pull out some peace, love, and joy, and acceptance, and like, and you want to like, walk out and put that. You don't want to do that because they're gonna look at you weird. Like this guy doing. You don't want to be. You just want to be like, you want to be low key, because they can feel you too. After a while, they start to look at you like, this guy has something to do with what's going on. And if you're walking around high and mighty, puffing yourself up, it ain't gonna go well. Screw this. You want to like be humble about it. Like, praise yeah, doing great, guys. Doing great, everybody. Praise yeah. This is it. Doesn't it feel right? Praise yeah. Isn't this nice? Isn't this nicer? And just kind of subconsciously having that conversation with everybody. And everybody's kind of stands to like, yeah, and they're filling you out. Do you think you're high and mighty? Do you think you're proud? No, I just want to see the world of Yah. I just want to see what the word looks like for once, and conquering, like, or not conquering, but what the word looks like actually being lived out. What the reign of Yahusha is supposed to look like, Shamaim on earth. So in that meditation, it creates it. As long as you stay locked in, because like an arm wrestling match, you can be like meditating on there, and then you start thinking about things you shouldn't be thinking about. You get already stressed, worried maybe about just worldly things. Like me right now, my dilemma would find a job, because sometimes get in the way of that. Because this is my first job, my eternal cosmic job. Maybe that's why it was not allowing me to get a job, because I'll be too focused on the physical part. I'll stop focusing on the what he wants me doing now. This stuff that I'm explaining. But I know I can do both. I can, yes or no, sir, make a sandwich, and yet be projecting like the Shamaim on Earth. But for the reason, maybe who wants as much as we can put out for his reign. And but when you start to go into some shenanigans, you start losing that battle. Like the reality starts changing. The mountain starts moving back in. Zion starts getting destroyed and plundered. You have less ambition for the word, for reading. You start to feel less motivated. You don't want to read. You don't want to listen to teaching. You don't even much want to meditate. You just want to like sit back and watch a movie, or just get stuck on Facebook. And I'm talking to myself because I started doing that. And then like, nah, I gotta like keep on projecting the image of Yah, what it should look like on Earth, like the idea, like imagine it, and then just like imagine it's here, imagine this is Shamaim on earth. See the best in everybody, see Yahusha in everybody, see everybody like Malakim from the Shamaim. That's how you do it. And it just stays that way. And everyone's a malak to the knot when they act that any other kind of way. Oh, forgive them, that's glitchy. We're still tightening it up. Just kind of little spark of the other world came sparked in. But that's all. It's okay. Don't worry. No harm, no foul. And then it'll get right back in line. And that sounds bad, like get back in line like it's a dictatorship, but everything has an order. right? Like lines, squares, geometry. That's what I mean. Like back in order, like connected with the geometry of the reality of Yahuwah Yahusha on earth. And so praise Yah. Um, all that to say, that's what you gotta be doing on day to day. That's your main job. And so I was having those weak moments where it's like, man, why am I struggling? Like normally I'm going through these phases where I'm reading, I'm meditating. It's like so powerful. I'm like in these stories, I read them, and they're like literally. I feel like I'm there now. Not now, but an example. Like when I'm usually reading, like if I'm reading the Book of Maccabees, I feel like I'm in that Maccabean era. Like like the what's that the Land Before Time or what the Never Ending Story. I forgot what it's called. I want those genie dog and imagine like Narnia stuff, right? Like you read you get so imaginative about what you're reading, it's almost like you're there. Like it becomes reality. You're imagining it, and that's how you want to read the words. So I start to. That's when the enemy don't like when you read the Book of Maccabees. That it's in that way. And I don't mean read it like, oh, and then he went and killed 5,000. No, when I'm reading it, I'm like, I'm there. It's happening around me. I'm imagining us running to these like neighborhoods, and they don't like that because you're like projecting because some of those realities have energy, they have mass. So it's a real reality that you're creating in your mind, like a cosmic realm version of it, an alternate universe reality. Kind of like those reels I've been posting where they like talk new age, like if they had cameras and stuff back then projected on Earth. Basically, what you're doing, that's kind of like a manifestation of kind of like what I do when I read a lot of the stories. I imagine it like in our times in a way, and because I try to imagine it back then, but then it gets into to our times still, like the new modern day Romeo and Juliet, like how they did that, like instead of swords and daggers and horses, they had cars and guns and stuff like that. So it's like that, and then you just imagine it. The enemy hates it because you're literally invoking those messengers of Yahuwah to recreate the story. Like in the Ruach, there's sort of you're actually. It's I feel like maybe you've been calling maybe you're like making an act of war just from reading so intently. It's like moving in that mountain at a fast rate. Because I remember when I had done it, that read the Book of Maccabees. That's when that flood in downtown San Diego happened. I was reading it, and I just remember everybody. I can feel them. They were all stopping and looking at me, like all the, like I would say, the demons in the flesh. They were like all like, they're like everybody's just mad looking at me, like they're just standing in the corner staring at me, looking at each other. Like he's so locked in his imagination, it's causing an effect here, and we got to stop this. And next, it just started pouring down rain randomly, just clear skies, and then clouds came like out of nowhere, like Mortal Kombat 2 at the beginning or the end of Mortal Kombat 1. And then all of a sudden just started pouring down rain. I had to bag up my book. I couldn't read the Book of Maccabees no more because I was trying to keep it out of the rain, and they made it rain for like a week straight, so I couldn't get in my reading, and it took my mind off of that, so then I couldn't project that war, that Shamaim realm battle of like it clears the land, it invokes. I believe when you read these books like books of Maccabees, remember in the book of Daniel, he was talking about how forgive me for being late, but the prince of Persia, Satan, was holding us off, But that was a physical war, but it was but Gabriel was talking about like it was happening in his timeline too, because it's all connected. What's happening on Earth is as it is in the Shamaim realm, the cosmic realm. They're having their own version, alternate universe, reality version of the same battle, and so that's how it works. And so I feel like when I was reading these things, when you read Book of Maccabees, you're like replaying that story depending on how much intention. You can't just read it and not have all your being in it. If you put your energy, your ruach, your amunah, your belief, empowered belief, it's not just belief, it's empowered belief. There's power in it, power source, and to create. And with your imagination, with your belief, with your trust, with all you're putting in, it'll create it. It'll like it's replaying it, but it's not only just replaying it, but it's also doing it in your reality in the spiritual realm, the ruach realm, and so then all of the evils moving out of the way, but then they fight back like the Book of Maccabees, like then the enemy will come and they'll bring their another army, and all of a sudden, bam, it starts to rain and this and that, and I got flooded out, and that's how I ended up in PB. But I realized that when I got out there, because and other things start happening. I won't go down that rabbit trail, but they're trying to like hold me hostage and keep me plant roots of uh, like lust addiction. That's when all the different other paradigms start coming in. They're bringing in Planet Utopia. Planet Utopia is, right? That's that Amazon planet, Planet Amazon or Planet Utopia, where the Amazonians live, all those Wonder Woman. So if you don't know about the superhero stuff, they're all parables too of cosmic realities. Planet Utopia is the planet where it's only women that live there, and they're all women warriors, and it's where Wonder Woman's from, and all these women warriors like Wonder Woman who have powers, and they're all superhuman strength, and so that exists. That's a the movie or Wonder Woman Utopia is a physical manifestation on Earth projected through a movie of a cosmic spiritual reality, you know, reality of a world that they have in the spirit realm, where that's the program, that's the weaponized tactic. Is it's all demonic spirits, but they project themselves as empowered women, and they use women to bring down men. It's how they use them, but they project the parable through Wonder Woman, Planet Utopia, and all that. But it's because they have like a factory or a demon realm of all these types of women and tactics, and how they get them to be seductive and steal your heart, try to steal your lust, like take your energy, get you captivated, put you under a spell, steal your soul, bring you down, get you addicted, get you in a cycle, in a routine where you're not. They're pulling you away from your routine of the word and meditating with Yah and man. Now you're planning utopia as a prisoner, and PB and one dynamic was a manifestation of that. To be honest, like Yahuwah's let me know. He's like, and one dynamic when you're overcoming it, it's like Shamayim, Malakim realm. It's like whatever. Like they don't have no power over you. They're servants. Like if they're trying to overtake you, then well they're under your feet. They're trying to captivate you. They're concubines. And it ain't nothing. Go. I got things to do. I'm working with you. We're creating realities. If they overtake you, then it's another realm. It becomes planet utopia, and they're overcoming you. You see what I'm saying? Like the universes switch according to the manner of power that they're operating in. So you just gave it Planet Utopia power, and they became Amazonians and Wonder Woman, and they're captivating you, and they put the belt, the lasso of truth on you. They tie you up and get you spilling the beans, telling on yourselves and whatnot, and all that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, they steal your energy, your soul, the power that who gave you to meditate on the Shamayim realm to project it on Earth. You're now giving it to them to make more Wonder Woman, more you, because this was really happening. I was literally like, I was walking around PB, and yeah, I got a couple of women here and there, whatever. Also, when I was giving into that, they were springing up like coming through portals or something, like just like more than half the women were like tongued out, provocative, doing the seductive eyes at me, bending over, doing yoga stretches, and like, what's going on? It was like weaponized, because I like was through my energy. They were using me like a portal, bringing them through, and so it reminded me. I felt like Thanos in the duality version, like where like in this instance, Thanos is the righteous one, and he's really just trying to bring about Yahuwah's desire, and bring the word and all that, and like all those demonic realms were like all those different uh, alternate universe reality and realms from end games were like the utopians came, the women on the horses came, Black Panther in Uganda came, Iron Man and the Avengers came, and this realm came. In the real reality, in the spiritual warfare, they're actually the bad guys. These are the demons painting themselves as heroes, and they make you Thanos. They make you Bane, because you're talking about the order out of chaos. The end needs to come to restart the order of Yah, Yahushua, when he reigns. They just leave that part out, and try to make you like the bad guy. That makes sense. So all those things are true. They're how they express their views on how they see it through movies. They're the ones that inspire the writers and all that. to tell their story, how they see it, and this is the perception of demons, through these movies. But nonetheless, you always a mature, you know, being. Um, if you plan on being eternal, you got to be able to look at all things. So you got to use duality and see things in another way, because a lot of things they're projecting too projects Yahusha and has some light dynamics in it. And you could tell what movies are more inspired by Yah than others. Like Thor, you know, it's another deity, so I won't say it, but yet nonetheless, the Love and Thunder, Ahaba, and Thunder, Yahuwah's voice like a loud voice thunder. That one was from Yahuwah. That one was definitely dynamics of Yahuwah mocking all the false idols. They even got a B-A-L-L, but they pronounce it B-O-W, and it's like that Chinese little food, like the little, what do you call it? The little dumpling or whatever, and he's a dumpling deity, but they pronounce it B-A-L, so it's like Yahuwah mocking that. There's a lot of mocking, like in the beginning, he kills the sun deity, that's from Yahuwah. And the so who's the villain in that movie? And one dynamic on a duality sense, on the retrospect, on the other end, is actually, I guess, like the Malak of Yahuwah, like the Malak of death, the vengeance, double-edged sword, and he kills the sun deity. He's always killing off the Baals and putting them down in that movie. It's pretty cool to see. It's like Yahuwah had his hand on that one. And then Thor was like the Yahusha, and then he empowers all the children with his power. That was like the empowering the 144,000. They're all like little children. You seen that part? It's a pretty cool part. But you got to know how to read movies, how to read reality, and see both sides and weigh it out and see the light in all of it, and not just be one sided and judge it all like the same way. Like, oh, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. That's very, you know, kindergarten, very first grade to do that. So you really wants to see if you can see it from you know not just panoramic view, but even compassing view, like to encompass around everything, and it shines differently from different angles. They're projecting different things from different angles. It's the universe, it's reality. It's amazing, it's beautiful. It's like it's almost like takes the responsibility out of our hands, because nothing is necessarily, not to say, because that sounds like a bad quote, sounds demonic almost. I would say not that nothing's wrong or right, but it's seeing Yahuwah's handiwork and how vast He is, because Yahuwah says, "I create right, do I created light, and do I create, and darkness and evil I create. I create them both." So it's like He's like, "Let me show you my real artwork, like my real handiwork." And so he's like trusting you to respect and not talk it down, but just to observe it and appreciate his works. When he's shining things in certain ways, you hit it with a different light or different angle, then the color contrast, like what was like light and darkness flip flop and now become darkness and light, it was red and blue becomes green and yellow, or blue and red, and it's like, whoa, seeing reality in different lights and different for different purposes, and it just goes deep. And words can only allow me to say so much, to convey it in words what the mind has already understood and downloaded. And words is almost like just in the way, it's a stumbling block. If we can telepathically send the download, that's what it does with us, with me at least. And so I'm just trying to give you some ideas. Facebook says, "What are you thinking about? What's on your mind?" These are the things that are on my mind, and this is how I meditate. This is my meditation. I'll be just sitting there thinking on these things all day with Yahuwah, like I'm talking with him. He's showing me, and but then I make sure, like, to give light the day. The win, the overcoming. Like, okay, let's channel where's the light in this, and meditate that into this scenario and give it the overcoming, and that's high. So what I was gonna say was, normally I'm doing that. These past few days I was getting stuck, and I don't know why. And I think it had a little bit to do with Facebook, because I started getting on it, but I was feeling drawn. Sometimes you feel like Yahuwah's maybe even drawing you to it. Like there's maybe like a purpose for it. So there was that. So I'll just kind of get stuck. Like I think a part of it is like initiation. Like you have to crawl through the mud. You have to go through the boot camp. So every time I come back on Facebook, he makes me go through the mire. Like, oh, this is all what's going on. By the way, since you've been gone, like these are what people are up to. Not you, but like the bots, like the AI, the agendas, the weird politics and narratives, the weird AI stuff, and the provocative stuff. Like I had to go through that. Like it was like because Yahuwah sees all things. He's like you got to know, like I know, like this is what, so you get an idea. Because when you see all those things, your mind operates like an AI algorithm too. Because Yahuwah's like that. Like if anything, AI is just a witness to Yahuwah's mind. Like they're like, oh, AI is so fast it can calculate and crack codes because it travels at light speed. It does millions of combinations at once and can crack any combination. And like, what do you think Yahuwah is? Like that's what Yahuwah does. He operates. AI is like barely a grain of sand of his mind of the ocean sea of how knowing and how he's played out every combination of every alternate universe reality, everything that can be, and knows the right thing that needs to play out, and doesn't let reality manifest without his permission. Like every second, he already signed off on it. He already put. That's why a day's 1,000 years to him. 1,000 years a day. He'll take a day, and he'll slow down and take 1,000 years meditating on that, just that one day, because he's eternal. He's not wasting no time. He doesn't feel that stress or anxiety. It's eternal. It's the same to him either way. So imagine he sat in this day that we didn't sat. He spent like in his timeline 600-700 years on it, just operating, watching everybody, moving things around, seeing their thoughts, and kind of seeing where the flow's going, and then what he can interject in the timeline to get us to come back to him, or even allow us to be given over to our vices so that we can stress out, because sometimes that's the only way. He knows that that's the only way it's going to get us to come back to him. Instead of like trying to put something to pull us back, he'll just, hey, I'm gonna give you over to your vice until you had enough of it, till you like get sick of it. Like he told the Israelites, till you got the quail coming out your nose, and you're like, man, just give us the manna. Just what we need, the word. Man doesn't live by bread alone or by material substance, but by your word. Be mindful, meditated, and other eternal things, and that's a sweet place to be. Let our meditation be sweet. And so, anyways, I felt drawn on Facebook, so I had to go through the mire, and I had to experience it like a human does too. Like I'm human, you know, but like I had that, like the human experience on that sucks. Sometimes it can feel so nasty, like you just done wasted your entire day like on something that's vain. I was just talking to one of my roommates about that yesterday. Like you just feel like you lost the day. Like you feel like that meaningless, that anxiety and that stress because you knew there was nothing productive on there, even though it feels like you're learning stuff sometimes. Like they mix it, some tree of knowledge of right and wrong, duality, clean and unclean. They put some words here, some like edification, so it keeps you kind of engaged. But then they throw shenanigans too. They overload, so then both are going in, and at the end of the day, it's like they try to hit you with the intrusive thoughts on the weird stuff, and you don't even remember the edifying words half the time, right? So I was going through all that, and like, man, just wasting my time. And I ended up like, man, I feel like reading. I don't want to force it. I'm just gonna like watch a movie. But then that started sucking my energy, and it got a little vain. I'm like, I always made that sacrifice offer. Like, you know what? Let me cut it off. Always try, if possible, push through. I feel like sometimes the test is like to allow the ruach impression to like get in the words or like being meditation or palal or praising to be taken out. Like let's just see what you do without the inclination, the impression, that help, that encouragement. And as a matter of fact, put all the odds against you, give you an inclination to want to watch TV and just sit there and be bored and get on Facebook, even though you know it's going to drain you, but that's your strong inclination. Let's just see what you do with it. You know what? While it's there, I'm gonna just give into it just so it burns out. That's me. I'm like, let me just burn it out. I must keep my mind on y'all the entire time, but my body wants to just go through this thing and wants to, swipe and see what's going on. But my mind's subconsciously gonna be like, here I am. Yeah, don't worry, I haven't departed from you. I'm not giving in my heart. I'm not like, invested like emotionally into this stuff. I'm just like, right on, right on. Even if it's provocative, I'm like, okay, no, sorry, because it happens. You kind of like stay there 1 second longer than you should. Like, okay, I'm done with that. Forgive me. And then it's just like, okay, it's out of my system. And it's like, and in the mind, they hit you with the second round two overload, like, you want more. I'm like, you know what? Screw this. Then you fight. You know what? Let's fight. So then sometimes you just got to force the praise out of you. You got to fight even though you feel like you're walking in like an iron suit and your feet feel like you got 25-pound dumbbells or weights attached to each ankle, and it's heavy to get to the table, heavy to lift your Bible out to read it, because like they put some attack on your flesh sometimes just to see how hard you'll fight for it. Because sometimes it's not about just doing what you feel, like trusting the feeling. Because I always say my mistake, or they try to catch me, is when I always say like, I don't want to ever force anything. I'm gonna let the Ruach lead and guide me and move me, so that it's like flowing, like from the Ruach. It's his inclination, impression. When I push or impress to read, when I choose to read, it's from the Ruach inside of me. Sometimes the test is like, I'm not gonna even do any of that. Let me see what you do without it, and we see that Bible, we see a scriptural blueprint with, I believe it's Haskiyahu, where it says that Yahuwah withdrew from him to test him, to see what he would do, to know what he would do. It said that Yahuwah withdrew his presence from him to watch what he would do, to know what he would do, to see what was in his lap. And so once you see some of the scripture, you already know it's a blueprint subject to happen to us too. And so I feel like Yahuwah's been putting some of us through Chaskiyahu moments where we don't feel his presence as much, just to see what we do. Are we going to go with the vanity, fleshly inclination? We're going to lay there. Sometimes it's great just to be still, know he is Yah. As long as you're not getting into trouble, you're not looking up things you shouldn't be, going places you shouldn't be, saying things you shouldn't be, dwelling on things you shouldn't be thinking, or feeling things you shouldn't. You're just chilling, and you can stay there meditating on Yah and Shalom and praise Yah. We can do that for days on end and without hearing a word. That's really part of the end game too. That's maturity. But nonetheless, for me to really feel empowered, I feel like sometimes I gotta read a little bit or get my praise on. I just want to feel like I engaged in some way. And even when the odds are against me, we walk down by what does the word say? By sight, but by empowered belief, trusting that that's what he would want us to do. And in the same logic, we walk not by sight, but we walk not based on emotion either. So even if our emotions aren't inclining us to read the word, but we know it's probably what we should be doing, meditating or praising Yah, I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna push. I'm gonna force it out at this point, like, because I know that's what I would naturally be doing at some point. Like, when you feel like you're just getting depressed or something's trying to overcome you, that's from the enemy. And the only way to overcome that is with the word. So, what is the manifestation of the word? Sometimes that's just praise. So I'm gonna get my praise on. I'm gonna bust. I'm gonna just start freestyling, even if nothing's coming out. I'm just gonna try to like get something out. That's what I do. Like, and then it just then I feel the ruach adding to it. Like, okay, I see you pushing. Here you go. Here's another nugget. Here's another line. Here's the peace, love, and joy. And you're like, yeah, there it is. And sometimes you just gotta fight for it. Wants to see you fight for it. Wrestling with Yahuwah, right? Wrestling with Yahusha, like Yakub, Yashadal. So those are just some pointers that I think help me out. Is like, don't just be subject to what your emotions are telling you, in the sense of, because we know not to give in to the bad emotions like stress and anger and depression and lust and all that. But we haven't been really necessarily, I think I haven't really been through this one, to like just allow nothing to happen when the Ruach's not giving you anything to do. Like, is it possible? Like, why do we have to wait on the Ruach to impress? Why can't we, you know, kind of encourage him to meet us? Hey, like, call. It's like basically calling on Yah, in a sense, and it's like meet us in our praise, because he's encompassing the praise of Yahshua. Praise is fitting for the righteous. So when you get your praise on, that's Yahuwah right there. And he wants to hear it. Like, he's like, all right, I'm down. Like, let's do it. And the Ruach, you really want to praise that bad? You really want to? Yeah, I want to be in your presence. I want to be where you are. I want to be doing your desires, speaking your word. So you got to fight for it. So that brings me to my next point. Finally cut that threshold where I was on Facebook getting stuck in the junk, in the muck. And then I was just getting all nasty, feeling bad and repenting. 2 3 days straight almost. Like, okay, what am I supposed to do? Getting agitated, while I was looking for jobs, I was doing all kinds of stuff at once. I usually ended up on Facebook while I was looking for a job. Every time I was filling an application, ding, I got a ding about something, and it's some weird notification. It wasn't even nothing, and it just starts to suck me back in again. I was gonna post that meme, the GIF of the mask when he puts the mask on. It Facebook feels like the mask, and then when he takes it off, I was like, ugh. But nonetheless, you have to get used to. You have to be, Yahuwah doesn't want you just running away from problems. He wants you to be able to sit there and face it, and it not phase you to overcome it. So every now and then he'll throw me back in a situation where there's provocative women walking around, like in that situation, to just be able to handle it and not get like tempted or lusty or excited, and just be like whatever. And then he'll have me back on Facebook, and I'd already overcome it. But then it's like it's fresh again, and there's weird new things, and I'm like, what? And then there's always something, right? And then so I have to remember like how nasty it gets. And then once you overcome that, well, the way I overcome it is I fight through praise. Like I'm just like, you know what? I just start to praise, yeah, and that ruach fills me up again. And then I'm like, now let's go back counterattack, and I'm like get a counterattack on Facebook instead of just giving into it and getting sucked dry from it and being its slave and being submissive and being beaten down from it, oppressed by it. Is when you can throw the word back through and praise Yah through it for others who are struggling. Because I already know, like, if I was fighting through that, I know people as much as you want to claim Mashpacha and Yahuwah Yahusha. You ain't on there just Yahuwah Yahusha all day and all the time. You put your thing and then you're scrolling and you're getting stuck in shenanigans. Things are kind of pulling you, getting you distracted and getting all feeling nasty and dirty and missing the word. Like certain things he was probably trying to tell you in that moment, but we're missing it. And it's like, man. And then it's like, nah, trying to praise Yah. And then you praise Yah and channel up that praise, and you bring it back on Facebook. You put the word out. So when people are going through the shenanigans, I'm trusting they see a video like this and like, yes, that they can feel like that's the word. We're just going to praise Yah, you know. So we work out our own salvation with fear and trembling in our love. Let us work out our own salvation with fear and trembling in our love. So we work out our own salvation with fear and trembling in our love. So we work out our own salvation with fear and trembling in our love. And so we praise Yah, Yahuwah. And so we praise Yah, Yahusha. And so we praise Yah, Yahuwah. Nah, fridge. So we praise Yah, Yahusha. So we work out our own salvation with fear and trembling in our love. Let us work out our own salvation with fear and trembling in our love. Did you find it? It's in that clear container with the red cat. Yeah, they're already cooked. You just gotta heat them up. Know what time it is. So what's another one? Here's another little gel one I did. It was like uh, when you go back on memories too, you kind of like astral project into that time. A lot of people say, "Oh, I can see into the future," and I'm like, "Man, I can see into the past." And it sounds like cliche, like anybody can see into the past. When you're going to the past, if there's a part that you're actually revisit. I know it sounds new agey, but man, I feel like if you can make any effect, I pour the ruach back into my past. I go to past moments, strengthen me in that moment for this moment now for my future. And so certain moments I'm even going through the present, I feel strengthened, and then and I feel like it's coming from Yah, of course. But then like I'll have a moment where I'm going through something, and then I'll get this thing. I'm like, oh, send that back to somewhere in the past, and in that moment that it's a lot. But that moment that I'm like remembering I was empowered. I'm like, oh, that's the moment I got empowered. So, because with Yahuwah, time is irrelevant. It's all at one time. And it's like, so you can send the Ruach, the energy around and keep yourself afloat and updated. But I'll do a witness, a story on on an experience, on an account that I had. I'll do it after this. I want to get this one song. I want to revisit this one. I was in jail. It was like, so let me tell you this one. I don't know if I hit it right. It's kind of tricky because I was like crying out to Yah in this one, and I remember everybody in the cells were like, but I was just giving my praise, and I was like, see that one? I was crying out literally. I think a little bit. I was like, "There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh, there's no one like you, Yah. Ooh, there's no one like you, Yah. Ooh." Like Yahusha who makes me free. There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh. There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh. There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh. Like Yahusha who makes me free. There's no one like you. Ooh. There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh. There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh. Like Yahusha who makes me free. There's no one like you. Ooh. There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh. There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh. Like Yahusha who makes me free. There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh. There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh. There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh. Like Yahusha who makes me free. There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh. There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh. There's no one like you, Yah. Ooh. Like Yahusha who makes me free. And that's it, man. It's just keep it simple and praise Yah. Hallelujah, Yahusha. But of course, I said in there were more passion, more tear, more, you know, and praise Yah, you know. See what else I got. Careful what you say. Watch what you say, because I had a brother-in-law. We used to rap together, and now his words are coming back to me. He was like a knob. He used to we used to freestyle, and he would always repeat this line. And at the time, I was like, all right, I was like, yeah, but I was like, okay, because he would be like, watch what you say. He would rap, he'd be, watch what you say, watch what you say, watch what you say, and I forgot the words, but and I looked at it as like what you tell an enemy or someone like that's beefing with you, like watch what you say, better watch what you say, like better be careful what you say, we're gonna have some problems. But then when I started going through my issues, and Yahuwah was taking me through different realms, teaching me, and there's one of them. It's like the power of word realm. Like he brought me into a realm where everything I would say would manifest. And it kind of reminded me of like the 144,000. Like, you know, um, it says that there's no guile in their mouth, right? It says 144,000 are have not been defiled with women, for they are virgins. So you can take that in a ruach way, where some people take it. I take it as well as like a physical way, in the sense when you rededicate yourself to Yah through an oath of celibacy. It's like you're a virgin again, literally, physically, and ruachly. And it says 144,000 are not defiled by women, for they are virgins. And then it says that they are blameless before the throne of Yahuwah, for there's no guile, there's no falsehood in their mouth. And falsehood, I feel like, is like no empty words, no shenanigans, no lie, no deceit, nothing untruthful. Everything they say and do is truth in line with the word. Or if they say certain things like that are gonna happen, or a certain principle, Yahuwah manifests it to make it true, so that the words don't fall on the ground, brings their words to pass. As long as it's within reason, He'll do it for you because you were perceiving a certain way, or maybe it was inspiration by the Ruach. But I felt like sometimes I had said during this time when He was disciplining me on my words. There were certain times I would say certain things loosely and not realize what I was saying. And then, but for the sake of Him, I feel like He was making me like with no guile in my mouth. For the sake of there not being any falsehood in me, He bring it to pass. He make my words true for my sake, in a sense. Like what? So then I thought my brother-in-law's freestyle raps, he would come back like all of a sudden it became relevant from the past. It was like he was like when you have those thoughts, it's almost like an alternate universe reality in itself in one dynamic because it's happening in some to some extent that when you're having remembrance and epiphany or something, that thought was that reality was revisiting, was coming to the future. And I was remembering a song. It'd be like, "Watch what you say, watch what you say." And now it was speaking like with a different tone, like a different intent. It was like a different version of it, you know. It like became the Yahuwah, Yahusha, Shamaim, Malakim, or the Shamaim Nab version. Like it was no longer back in the street days with the street mind. Now Yahuwah projected that and filtered it with like a Malak through it, like a alternate universe reality version of Malakim and Shamaim messengers from Yah, speaking through that message. Like watch what you say, watch what you say, because whatever you say, it was gonna manifest, and His word don't play, kind of thing. And so now I watch what I say, because and even watch what you agree to, like when people are saying certain things, if it's falsehood and you know it, like what they're saying is demonic, or like they're talking about some like chakras and or witchcraft or like tarot card reading or past lives and reincarnation. You're like, oh yeah, yeah, I know, right? Watch what you say. Like your words, you just made agreement, you just made spiritual covenants with those words, with that ideology. And so now that puts demonic uh, infiltration, impressions, and citations, influence, something demonic on you because you came into agreement, you made that contract. So now they have right to kind of influence your mind and pull you away from Yah because you just agreed to it. So now you're gonna start having on a subconscious level, you know, reincarnation thoughts, past life thoughts. You're gonna be having subconscious past life experience, a dream that you were like in the past, and you were, tell me why everybody was King Tut or so. I've had that happen where like I met two or three people that said they're the same person in the past life. So that already debunks that. Just to kind of Yahuwah show me how foolish that stuff really is. But they swear by it because they had a dream and they have a certain mark and certain this or that person had or whatever, and they have it too. It's like, man, these demonic these demons, bro, they orchestrate and use any little thing they can to leverage to, you know, they used the resurrection of Yahusha on the first day to change the Sabbath from the seventh day to the day of the sun, the day that they would already worship the sun anyways. See, they use anything. They even used the Messiah himself and leveraged him for their lie. So they'll do anything. They can do anything. They're smart. They've been alive for, you know, forever. They're eternal. But well, not maybe not since the beginning. They had a creation date. But they've been alive almost since forever. Praise God. Watch what you say. So nonetheless, yeah, so I'm on here just to bring a little dose of the words and kind of kick back. And for those that are like having those vain phases where you just like you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, but you can't get off Facebook and you stumble upon this. I trust that it was somewhat edifying, give you some food for thought about the word and cosmic realms and building the Shamayim realm on earth by your meditation. Always be thinking what it should look like. Put your mind on Yah, Yahuwah, Yahusha, and it'll loosen, his substance to come into you and to loosen around you, like you're bringing down his realm on earth. You're bringing down Zion, New Jerusalem, just by putting your mind on it. You're going there and it's coming to you. It's all one, if that makes sense. And it's projecting in your reality. It's starting to, people got to play the roles. Someone's got to be the gentle, kind guy going to get the apple and biting it. Praise you. Like, everything starts to fill in, but you got to keep your mind locked in there. And when you see the shenanigans, like they'll try to pull you out, they'll try to distract you, they'll try to get you off the eternal peace, love, and joy, the flow. You got to ignore it. You can't give into it. It can't exist to you. So it doesn't exist at all. So it can't have life and revive, chaos in the world, in that Zion realm, that New Jerusalem realm will also start to take over like a flood, like a hole, like an iceberg hit, and it's sinking your Zion, your reality, and it's all going underwater in the water of the falsehood, because you gave into the emotion, you gave into the thought, you got a reaction out of it, you felt some type of way, you dwelt on it, you took it personal. You can't let things distract you or get your attention like that, you know, because things will come out all the time. So that's the one way you do it too. The main ingredients when you enter the Sabbath, when you loosen New Yerushalayim, Sion on earth, you have to do it from a state of eternal peace, love, and joy. Ahava, Shalom, and Samcha. Uh, in line with the word of Yahuwah. I always say, you know, uh, loosen eternal peace, love, and joy, be in a state of peace, love, and joy, according to the word of Yahuwah. Because you can have the world has its own counterfeit version of eternal peace, love, and joy, from doing this and that parties and worldly stuff, but ours is from just the word. So our peace, love, and joy, according to the word of Yah, like what the commandments are, that brings peace, love, and joy. Our meditation of Yahusha, He's eternally saved us. He died for our sins and rose again and raised us up with Him. Peace, love, and joy from that. We have a secure expectation, peace, love, and joy from that. We have a tub inheritance in Him. In His house are many mansions. Peace, love, and joy from that. Peace, love, and joy when we're being afflicted. Peace, love, and joy because we know we have something better that awaits us, and we're being tried, that we're found worthy to be tempted and tried and refined like gold in the fire. Peace, love, and joy from that. Peace, love, and joy is in, like, that, like what you see in, like, all those, like, pagan, new age, pagan churchianity things, entities, paganism, because that's the world. They call joy, like, when you have to, like, express it all, dancing and going crazy. Joy, if you look up Samka, like where it's written in the Abari, like in Psalms 119, like where they have the olive in the top, S is for joy, like for Samka, right? S. And if you there's some of those parts where they have the Allah in the top of the alphabet, they're describing joy. And it says, "You have lifted me up, though I was down, and this and that. You raised me back up." So joy isn't not necessarily like being lifted up, like, you know, it's like to be lifted up because you have an expectation. You're being you're looking forward to the future. That's all joy is. It's having a positive outlook for the future, and it's a state of mind. It's not this, like, where's your joy at? That's not joy. Joy's like you're going through all this stuff, and that in the end it's gonna all pay off. It's gonna be worth it, and that's joy. Joy's like, yeah, I feel all right. Like, I'm uplifted by that thought. I'm going through all this now because it means in the end I'm gonna get the reward. Then, like, I'm just being tested right now to show that I'm worthy of it. I'm approved of it. Because you gotta be spat, hated, beaten, rejected. Like, you can't be living your best life now. Think you're gonna get your cake and eat it in the end too. It says, Baruch are those who mourn now, who are hungry now, with the hunger, thirst, righteous now, who are hated now, because then you shall rejoice, then you shall eat, then you shall leap and dance, and this and that. So you can't be leaping and dancing and being full of joy, and then leaping and dancing again some more. If you're leaping and dancing, you're living your best life now, everything's great, something's wrong. Fair warning. You might be, without realizing it, or on a subconscious level, you maybe know that you're living off the pleasures, the delicacies, the flatteries of Satan. His pleasantries. You're being bought off. You're being sold out. Even at a small measure, you don't see giving your soul being sold out doesn't mean that you necessarily um, are rich and famous and all that. It could just mean you're pretty much comfortable with your life. Like you're not nothing's oppressing you, nothing's frustrating your moves. Like you're successful. You're getting the house, you got the land, you're getting this, you're getting a lot of things just going your way, and you feel like it's favored. Like, hmm, there's a compromise somewhere, maybe. And sometimes just the heart condition. It doesn't mean that you're necessarily like in sin. It could be that you really love sports. Maybe you can be you're just a football guy, and you praise Yahuwah, but hold on, shh, the game's on. You got this love of the world somewhere hidden, You like shopping. You like buying nice things or watching this and that. So that's like your little compromise, your little adoration to the world, to Satan and its ways. You got some foot in there, so it's gonna give you something because you're a great tool for him. You're a great compromise for him because you make it look like you can be in this and prosper and still and yet the spirit's off. You might be you know playing along, playing house with Yah, calling on the name, knowing keeping the feast, and yet and like, did you see what Trump said? Did you watch the game? Did you watch Family Guy? Oh, that was funny. I was watching. You can get onto all that. Like, that's how I look at you. That's how Rusha would look at you. Like, who's this guy? What's he doing in our camp? Dancing with the devil, wearing this product. You know what I'm saying? Flaunting them. Like, we're at war. Love not the world nor the things in it. The worldliness, the vanity, the pleasantries, the flatteries, those small worldly tender kindnesses, things that help you make it to the next day from the world. And then you got a lot of that on Facebook. That's where, but I feel sick of that. I get convicted of that. I'm like, forgive me, yeah, I shouldn't even be looking at some of this. But I do get a lot of edifying content, so I try to. But then I'm always like, yeah, because I love him so much. Nothing can separate us from the love of Yah. That's different from someone's like, ha ha ha, look, check it out. Look, watch this, watch this, watch this. Look, ha ha ha. Ah, take a shot. Like, yeah, great night, everybody. Praise God. Thank you for such a wonderful life. Like, who wants to watch Practical Jokers real quick before I go to sleep? And I was like, I don't know about this one. You know what I mean? That's still the wheat has not bowed its head. It's not completely torn off the chaff. You might have to go through the tribulation, make a decision, make a choice on having to give it all up. See the barley harvest, we let go of the skin, the chaff, and we try to be nothing but fruit always remaining. And we might mess up. 7 times the righteous man falls, gets back up. Oops, I didn't know I was supposed to. I messed up. 7 times means cyclical. 7 days of the week repeat over and over. That's why I said 70 times 7, because 7 is not the number of completion. 7 is the number of put it in rotation. That's gonna be happening forever. Cycle until the 8th day, till the new day, till something changes it. So 7 times a righteous man falls and gets back up, making mistakes but not intentional. It's not he's not conniving and like, oh, I'm gonna do this and apologize. No, it was a genuine like, dang, I didn't even see that. I didn't even know. Like I thought, man, I could have sworn that was the way to go. I thought that was the right thing. I could have sworn, man, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I should, but we're trying. Our like so Yahuwah shows more compassion, favor, because the love intent is all there for him. But we just sometimes, the meek things, low and poor in spirit and ruach might say things that are mean, but we still consider righteous because the condition of our love is in reverence and the utmost respect. The intention is to always just be honoring and pleasing and desiring to do the desire of Yahuwah. Never our own. If we mess up, we did that messing up thinking that was his desire. That's the difference. Where somebody else mess up knowing they probably messed up, but doing their desire. You know what I mean? Like Oh man, I think I went too hard on that. Why did I do all like that? Took premeditation. So you gotta get out of that gray area where you're like planning a trip, gonna have all this fun, convictions trying to take root in you. And you're like, no, 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 I don't feel your conviction. Nope, you can mess with me after we have our fun, after we have our cake. You know, you take the trip, go to a hotel, go party, sightseeing, buying things, eating ice cream, partying up, cotton candy, you know, vanity, and just living like the world. And then get back, and it's like, man, forgive me, Arua. We did a little too much. We should have, maybe not. You know, it's like, why? Like, did you even share the word? Like, it might have been all right if you would at least share the word. One thing I always say, if I always just go out and do an outing, Yahuwah, for the sake of conviction, doing your desire, give me some work to do. Maybe give me an opportunity to share your word. So I end up sharing the word sometimes just going to the grocery store. You know, just praise God. That's a great day. He counted you worthy to share his word. That's the other part too. You know, you want to be counted worthy. May I be worthy to share your word, you know? So yeah. I'll give one little witness about certain things I went through and then I'm gonna be done and just let you know how real this gets. Because if you're not being tempted, something's wrong. Like when you're doing everything you know is right, like according to the word, righteousness is defined by the word, obedience of it, and the fruit of the ruach, then the enemy's gonna come after you with some real high quality delusion, demonic stuff. And there was a meme or a reel that was posted mocking me at this time, and I was gonna share it. It was last time I came out of jail and I was at the other house. But I didn't share it because there's too much going on. Like, nah, like I don't want it to be a stumbling block for anyone else. But Planet Utopia, man. Like when I was going through that realm, when I was going through that phase, you know, PV, and I go to the park. It just seemed like girls were coming out the woodworks and then just bending over in my direction. Everywhere I looked, everywhere I went, it just kept happening. Like yoga stretch, downward dog style. And I'm like, and that's never happened. It never happened since. It was only to that phase. I never seen it again. I was rebuking all that yoga stuff. I was kind of like, yoga's from demons. You're bending over doggy style to demon spirits right now. I was saying that to them. That's how hardcore I was going. And it's like they renounce and denounce yoga, or they stop doing it out in public. They don't do it out in public no more because of me. You know, I know it because they're tripping. They're like, man, this dude making me uncomfortable or scaring them straight or something. But if they do it, they go to them little places now where they got it. But that's just not. That's just what I feel like the word says to do. Work out your salvation with fear and trembling. It's to call it out. I was just calling it out. If they felt the need to stop, then that was their conviction tone. Because I wasn't beating them over the head with it. I might as well just been written off like some homeless dude walking through the neighborhood and yelling it one time through here and there sometimes. Now, if they made sense of it and stopped because they can agree with it, they looked into it, then Brock, you will praise God. But that's on them, and I didn't. There's no harm, no foul there. I didn't do nothing like more than what their own consciousness was already telling them. They knew bending over in provocative ways like that didn't feel right, didn't feel so modest. You know, they knew there was something like, you know, it ain't right. Like it's sort of a little gimmick to just make an excuse to have dudes check out and stumbling blocks. Dudes married walking through, seeing that, and then they getting a little, you know, they're just adding to the temptation. And the dude might get on a site or look up, like try to meet somebody from that moment, you know, or have to, you know, think about that later, you know. But either way, there's conviction there. But I told him straight up, I said, if you look the origins of them yoga stretches, you can see that the people who created it, the Hindu, Buddhist, all them people, they will tell you that they were inspired by spirits, their higher powers to make those positions, and those positions are mocking positions because they got you doing doggy style to those spirits. You're doing that's what you're doing. You're all that little downward duck, downward dog, doggy style position. You got spirit coming in the back of you right now, and that's why your energy's up and down, your emotions. Because I know about that. I met a lot of people that say, "Man, feel like I get more agitated when I do yoga because it's like it brings so much nirvana, serenity that you're like dependent on it. So then you get addicted to it because without it, you just feel like you're like emptied. I'm like, what if they're just recycling energy when you do it and they're giving you a charge of it, so you feel that, but then like they're stealing it the rest of the time, but they're recycling it back to you, you know? And I don't know, I talk to people, but I would say things like this, and that was it. Next thing I know, they stopped doing it out in public. I wasn't threatening. I just said, hey man, did you know the origins of yoga is inspired by spirits? They tell you, and that's demonic spirits, and they got you doing doggy style to them. They're mocking you. Word of Yahuwah is true, and that's it. And I said, and then they just stopped. Nonetheless, though, they're bending over all the time around me. It wasn't just in yoga. It was like in any kind of reason to bend over, drop a quarter, whatever, been tie the shoe, stretching it out, just opening it up, and those little tights, you know what I mean, ready to rip. But I'm just being silly. But yeah, Barack Yahuwah, what I was getting at through that is it was demonic. They were just doing that, and there's a reel that came out that was like mocking me on that, and I was gonna share that, but it wasn't normal. It wasn't natural. Like that's when I started realizing that like they want your energy because when I stopped looking, they would bring more out, and they were just always trying to line them up in front of my path until I looked. Because like once, well, I would like test it, right? Like my subconscious was always like scientifically analyzing all this. Once I would look and give it attention, like ooh, you know, all of a sudden they'd like kind of like stop doing it for the day because I already gave them my energy. But when I didn't look, they would bring two, then three and four until I looked. And I remember this one time I knew it was happening. I could feel it in the ones and zeros. Um, I was able to navigate around it all day, and I finally made it to midnight, just about. And I went into McDonald's. I was like open till 2 in the morning or something in the neighborhood, and I put on Triumph and Truth because I was staying in the Word. I wasn't looking to right and left. I was reading, and they kept trying to make noise, ha 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 ha, like say things to like get your attention. You can't give it no attention with your ear, with your eyes, with your emotions, and thoughts. And that's how you deplete them because they invest like 50% energy to get 100 out of you, like to get to re up, like to get make theirs back and some to invest it into the Monsters Inc. Energy realm and produce more attacks with it, and so weaponize it against you or whatever. Nonetheless, I made it midnight and I was putting on Triumph and Truth, and I can feel it. Like I got so in tune with the reality. I'm like, I can sense it like the ones and zeros, like agents are coming. Like you're reading the ones and zeros, like in the Matrix. I'm like, oh dang, they're coming. They're about to walk in, and they're gonna try to make me look. They're gonna do something crazy. I can already feel it before it happened. And I was just listening, trying for truth. Bring it in. Door opens. Like here it goes. I look up. Crowd of girls. Woohoo! I'm like, here we go. And then they were like acting drunk. So drunk is the manifested reasoning excuse why they're about to tempt you, but nonetheless, it's just like a gimmick. They're just gonna shake in front of me just to try to get my energy. They just want this and this and somewhere else energy, and um, so then the girls start twerking, bam, right there next to me, dancing, and they're like, like making noises to try to get me to look, pull my attention. I'm just staying in the word, I'm listening, and Shema, Yasha, Yahuwah, Achad, listen to Triumph for Truth, Gary Sign, they're just twerking, woo! Like, for every little thing he says that I'm locking in, it's like they know they can feel my attention on the word. They'll yell even louder right after, like, they're trying to, like, it's like chess, like moving, like checkers, like moving, like the ruach goes, the word goes, and they go, and they kept trying to pull me. Finally, I wasn't looking, and then I sensed them like they're gonna come over here. I can just feel it, and all of a sudden, girls came like, ooh, and I could feel the presence, I could feel the energy, I could feel it coated with the thing they wanted to suck mine out with, and it was demonic. And they're like, hey, what are you doing? What's your name? And I'm like, I'm just listening to the word. Like, oh yeah, what's it about? I'm like, It's about how we got to keep the commandments, and Yahusha, man doesn't live by bread alone, but by every word spoken by the mouth of Yah. Like, oh, you know so much. Huh? And then, like, yeah, and they're like, what are you doing for Xmas? This was right before Xmas. And like, I don't celebrate it. And like, I knew it. You don't celebrate this, that, and try to make conversation, get my emotional energy, and I just like not giving anything. I was just being stoic. And and then she's like, "What's that?" And I'm my shofar, like it's my horn, and like, can I blow it? And I felt like I heard you always say, "Yeah, let them blow it. Let them like don't." I think maybe if I would have said no, they would have. Who knows what would have happened? But I was like, "Yeah, go ahead. You know, try to do it like this, like just to make it positive, put on the word. Like they blow for the feast. I was just explaining it, so it gave me a reason to talk about the word, and I showed them like you gotta do like an elephant." And so they did it, and what they were showing me though too was like I always had this sense like sometimes we're like in this like projected realm that's not even Earth realm no more, and like no one can see us. Like almost like they can put a dome around our situation. We're like almost invisible, but when they look, the world outside of that dome looks in. They're seeing us talking like ding 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 ding. It's that normal conversation, but we can be fighting in there. We can be blowing horns in the middle of McDonald's all loud. And I'm looking around, and everybody's just like in line, like they don't see us. I'm like, yeah, this is some Twilight Zone stuff. They're showing off. They're like, I was in some deep demonic realm stuff, and that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to mock me and show me how much power they really have, what they can really do if they needed to. I looked at the cashiers, and they're just like handling the customers like $5.99 is your change or whatever, and they're over here like blowing my spot, boo, 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 boo. They're dancing, twerking all around my table, and I'm looking at the employees, and the employees are like they don't see it, like we're invisible. I'm like demonic stuff. Like there's a wall, I can feel the ones and zeros, and they're just seeing us talking. The volume's turned off. They can't hear none of this. You know, I'm like, yeah, I already know. And like she's reading my thoughts. Like when I'm saying, like as I'm intuitively understanding this, she's just laughing. She's like, like saying like, yep, you figured it out. Like that's right. Watch this. And then she gets on the table and starts twerking on the table, putting her butt in my face. Like my nose is like this far from her butt crack, and I'm like trying not to give him like doing like this and stuff. And then she's just laughing, and then she's dancing and yelling, woo, 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 like, and I'm looking at the cashier, looking at her like around, and everybody's just smiling like, like elevator music in my intuitive imagination. I'm like, okay, it's demonic realm stuff. And they laughed, and they're like, "What's your number so I can call you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you're not gonna call, but I'll give you my number. Just let me see what they do." And then yeah, of course she never called. It was of course what I thought, because it's demonic. They want to try to get you excited, try to get any kind of energy. Trying, oh, you want my number? Like, even though I know it's like demonic, so they try to mess with you in different ways. I'm like, man, it's crazy. So that was one story. Um, So I mentioned before my old videos, you know, I gave a testimonial witness story of like when I first did meth, when I had done meth, that I went into this green realm where is Yahusha, and then I astral projected to this red realm was the devil, Satan, and he was like in a black shadow, but Yahusha was like shining, but in the green realm, like he was all green, like neon green. So I actually saw where that experience took place, and it happened in the future because so this is where I want to talk about some of those things. When I was in my jail cell and just recently in South Bay, where there's Chula Vista right here, the county jail, our light they give at night when it's lights out, they actually give us like a night light, like a red light, like we have a red light. So like I put a towel over the light so it's a little darker, but it's just glowing red. And then right outside my door, I was at the edge of the building was a green neon exit sign. So green. So they're like this bright green and red. And they're like, why does this seem familiar? See manifestations. And I was like, man, something's tripping me out about this. And I saw things happening, like manifesting, like start seeing like sparks and cosmic things happening at that time in the cell. And I was like, this is something I can't, and it's familiar. I can feel, I recognize this, and then I can feel the presence of what was happening, and I can feel like that, the presence of the past of when I first did meth and astral projected. I went to the green room and the red room, and that green realm was happening right there live in that moment from the past, was happening in the midst of the green lighting of the exit sign, because that's how it was when I did meth. I was in my room, it was all darkness, but it was this green reality like projecting, like hologram opened up, and so I was in this green realm, like where everything was going green, but in the blackness of my room. But now here I am, 5 years later, 5 6 years later, in my jail cell, and I'm seeing something going on, and I'm seeing that meeting from 6 years ago happening now, in the green lighting of the exit sign. I'm like, wow, like right now in front of me in the cosmic realm, like in the little atoms in the universe, it's being fulfilled what I was in the past. But it's like, where are we going to have this meeting? When I did meth 6 years ago, where am I going to have this meeting with Yahusha and the enemy? But it's not where, but what time are we going to have this meeting? Not what time, like 7 o'clock, but what time frame they can have the meeting. And it's Yahusha. Yahusha is infinite. There's time is irrelevant. So he's like, let's see what time, what time frame where we're gonna do it in what time frame. And it's like he saw the future of me being locked up in this cell with the red and the green. He's like, we're gonna use the lighting from this green exit sign and be right here in the midst of it in the cosmic realm. So it's happening right in front of me, and I was probably like this tiny. See what I'm saying? Like time and space is irrelevant. I can feel like this little green realm universe, like that small, like little cosmic realms, but those worlds were big, but it's little to me. It was happening right there in the green, in the lighting in the darkness of my cell, outside of my cell where there was a green light, outside, green light. But then I saw things happening in the red room, and that's when that astral projected. The astral projection was happening in this physical realm. I was astral projecting from outside that green lighting of the exit sign to inside of my cell, locked up where Satan was, where he wanted to offer me the key to have powers. And the manifestation of them was right then and there when I was thinking how that is, like how I saw that red realm and Satan was like this dark shadow. My celly, my bunkie ended up getting up and he casted the same exact shadow that I remember seeing in that red realm when I met Satan and he was trying to offer me powers and all that. He casted the exact same shadow when my celly got up. It casted his shadow on the red wall, and that was exactly what I saw. Only only I had seen it 5 years ago projected this small in that red cosmic realm. I could see it, me having that conversation. It's like it takes that imprint, projects it here. So then you're seeing all those same elements. Because even the guard would come by and he would shine the bright light as they do their rounds at night, and it was like the white part, the light of the green realm that I was in. Also, I forgot about that part. Like, I'm like, what? That's where the light was coming from. Because when I was in the green realm, there was also this like brightness, this white light in the background of the green realm. Like you see the white light. Like, don't want, like, look, the light of Yah. But then in this version, 20, like just a few months ago when I was in jail, it was the guard's flashlight flashing it where he was standing under the exit sign and green light was coming through, and that's when that was happening. But I was having that moment back in 2021, I believe, is when I had that, or 2020. I'd already experienced all this in 2020 in the cosmic realm. That's where I had my meeting with Yahuwah, with Yahusha and Satan, and when I was on meth, happened just a few months ago. But in the timeline of the natural realm, it was 2021. But we just had that meeting in the future, if that makes sense. I'm like, when all this was happening, I was like, whoa, this is crazy, cool, cosmic, beyond me stuff. Like I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but I was like perceiving and understanding, and I was like, wow, this is cool. Like I wondered if I would have like swung my arm, if I would have slapped myself in 2021 and just woke back up. I don't know. You know, that's how it operates. Like, imagine like there's like a version of your reality right in front of you, and you stick your finger down in it. All of a sudden, you see a big giant finger at the same time coming down from the sky. You know, while you're going like this, it's like so it's kind of connected like that. Anyways, enough about that. Yeah, that happened. I just want to share that so you can food for thought on things like how Yahuwah think on these things, like how Yahuwah, there's no time and space with him. Because remember what he said to the Pharisees or to Nicodemus? He's like, man, if you can't handle the earthly things, how are you going to handle Shamaim things? So these are some of those things. And just all that matters is at the end of the day, you look at everything according to the light, through the light of the Torah. Look at everything in regards to the light of the Torah, how it would look like. And just Torah is the foundation of it all. That's all that matters. That brings security. Taurus holding all the realms together, holding all of these things together. So, anyways, that was something I wanted to share because it was like, whoa, pretty cool, pretty intense. And another thing, man, I don't know if I can say this is one of those weird dark things. Okay, it's talking about. I want to get this off my chest. Utopia, demonic realm stuff. How they were manifesting in the flesh, shaking in my face, but like no one can see it. They kept bringing that back all the way because they were trying to give me a stumble because I was like during my time PB, I was getting solid, right? Like I was overcoming everything. I was staying locked in with Yahushua only, no matter what they were bringing. But then they're trying to put me in these deceptions. Like you see me post, if you look back in the post about the Ravager, like 7 women clinging to one man, also had to do with like um, I'll put the curses that are put on you on them, and they ravaged us as Israelites. It says, the ravager destroyer shall come, and houses and women, wives shall be taken, But it says in Isaiah 13, but then I bring the Medes and the Persians to put it up back on them, but it's all parabolic, because that was a physical manifestation of something that still has to be fulfilled. And it says that in Isaiah 13 that um, their houses plundered and their wives ravished, and stuff like that. So like the curses they put on us back on them. And so like where the enemy tried to give me is like, oh yeah, this is like open to happen now. Like we right now is the window. There's nothing stopping from that happening now. And he was even putting things in place. So three mathematical implications went into that computing. It's like number one, maybe it's just Yahuwah allow me to be tested. Like maybe it's something I have in me I need to get out of my system. So number one, I got this out of my system. Got so much of that all around me where it like overstimulated. I don't really care for it. Maybe that's just need to happen because I maybe had a hidden reservation for that kind of stuff, but now it's out of my system. Number two, maybe it was a type of fulfillment of that Isaiah 13, but I'm like it can't be the real one because it happened on their terms, and I'll explain that in a little bit because it's supposed to happen kind of raw, and it's gonna be like to the fullest. Not oh yeah, you can have a little bit of experience. Like we'll watch and control, and that's still the enemy controlling. It's not the real thing. But I did have a type of fulfillment, which makes it a type in shadow, meaning there's still fulfillment to come. Number three is the third one is like is a shadow things to come that still has to yet to be really fulfilled. So first, get it out of my system. Second, I did get fulfilled to some measure, but the third is still yet to come, the fulfillment. And what it was talking about is the Ravager. Like I explained it before in other videos, like the cuckling spirit. Like I explained, like I rationalized, like the reason I think certain people have that, certain cultures, because it's only certain cultures because it's the ancestors or the descendants of those who had done that to other people. So like I think you could say the law of the universe or Yahuwah, if you will, implanted something to put the right ruling, the verdict in them to be like, well, now they get to do it back, you owe it to them. But it gave it to them as a desire, as a pleasure, like, oh hey, take my wife. I wanna enjoy that. I wanna get off like I want that. It's like, what? Yeah, like I want my wife ravished, and it's like, where's that come from? And it comes from the right ruling from, yeah, the verdict is like, this is what is the recompense for the ancestors. Truly, it makes sense. And so, so that thought in mind, I ended up going to Black's Beach, because yeah, just that's what I do sometimes. Summertime, I want to get the all around overall tan and be one complete solid color, and feel cool in my skin, and it's therapeutic. I feel like Garden of Eden. I call it the Garden of Eden. Like, man, I'm going to Garden of Eden and just spend time with Yah, and I'm always imagining like try to loosen that realm, what it should look like there. And I think I talked about that before. Like, I would go, and it's like moving the mountain there too, because you go and sometimes there's parties going on, certain things. It's a little weird, a little off. But then you focus on, yeah, like what it should look like what the Garden of Eden was like. Then, like, even in that same time you're there, everybody gets more calmed down. They get more like something comes in and they feel a little more pure, a little more respectful, more one with nature. They're just all kind of meditated, kind of like, this feels right, like just relaxing, just being at peace with nature, and yeah, and like everything's cool. And that would happen every time. Like, it can move that mountain too. But nonetheless, when I went with my mind about the Ravager thing, like how that was in my subconscious, so they can play off of that because it's in me. So it's like they can take that energy, and create. So it was another realm. It wasn't the Garden of Eden. I wanted it to be, but because I had a split, conflict of interest type of reservation of mind, it could channel that and create that reality, and the demons in the flesh and the attacks. So next thing I know, I've never seen this before. I go to Black's Beach all the time. Every time since I've been in San Diego, I go at least like 5 to 10 times a year during the summer or something, and it's always chill. Like, everybody's just chilling. All of a sudden, just this one particular phase, Planet Utopia phase, with the women twerking in my face, demons in the flesh, and they're cutting off. If you're just tuning in, you want to rewind to hear what I've been talking about if you haven't heard already. But you go back and you see. But so this was still going on. Like, this was in that same phase where they just constantly trying to bend over and just take my energy, distract me, try to tempt me. So the Black Beach version of this reality now, it was different. I go there because it's a new beach. Now they can do it to that measure because it applies. It's according to the rule of the realm. They can only do so much at the beach, at a McDonald's. Now you're at a now you're we're talking about what this realm looks like. This projection of the enemy trying to tempt me at a new beach. Man, I go there. Everything's cool. I don't see a lot of people. There's a few people here and there, whatever. I'm not worried about that. I just find my spot. Like, yeah, tell me where you want me to go. I ask ya. He said, go just right here. Like, you kind of feel that little like pulling, like nudge to go this way. And it was like just past the volleyball court area and just chill right there. So I chill there, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I want to honor you. I'm going to be one with you, Garden of Eden style. You know how we roll. I'm going to just get in the word. So I'm getting in the word and I'm reading, and they don't like that, especially when there's like a trans realm going on. Trans realm is like you made some kind of covenant with their lie, maybe deception, so they're alive and thriving. They're surrounded by it. Kind of like I used to say this when I used to get high, when I used to smoke weed. As long as I was smoking weed and I had worldly thoughts and I was like in some way invested in the world, I had a great high. Like, because it's like when you smoke weed, you're invoking spirits to come down and like sit amongst you. You're like invoked, and like you're like putting an altar like in your mind, a portal right here, and they come through and channel in, and that's why your mind expands. Oh, bro, our mind's expanding, bro. Like, having all these cool ideas because it's a council of demons. But when I started getting into the word and being convicted and like just wanting to think about the word while I got high, then I start having the bad trips where like you get paranoid, hearing voices, because demons don't like that. You're inviting demons when you get high, and yet they come. They think you're about to have some worldly fun. And as long as you have something they can compromise with in your thoughts and your actions or whatever, they're gonna have a nice time. They'll give you a great high. But you're inviting demons in to talk about the word, they're gonna give you a bad trip. That's the only times I had bad trips, getting paranoid, hearing voices, getting all weirded out, couldn't breathe or whatever. They'll make energy and charge you, like attack you that way, and energy, and also get anxiety attacks. Was when I was thinking on the word, because they're pretty much checking you for inviting them, getting high, but then still being about to work. So this is the same thing even with the realms. So like you create you make contracts with these certain realities, realms, and ideologies, and they manifest. But then you're still trying to shine the light in and take over, like manipulate it to the word of Yah. And you can take over and get these realms, but you still got to fight them all. And so the way they were fighting me, because they didn't like what I was doing, um, I had this idea about the Ravager and like the wives and concubines. What the oppressors did to us will be done to them, and they raped and pillaged ours, and so now they have that desire to want the same thing in a way subconsciously. But it's something that's in my mind, like, oh, it's gonna happen one day. So then they're playing off of that. So I'm there at the beach and I'm reading the word, and they don't like that because they can hear what I'm reading. They're feeling my experience. They're part of it because we had that contract, transrealm experience. All of a sudden, this couple will, boom, plant themselves right next to me. And I'm not feeling nothing weird. I look over, they're actually like maybe kind of older couple, a little bit older than me, not like 10 years older maybe. But they're old. You can tell they're a little older. And I'm just like, whatever, I'm just reading. And all of a sudden, I feel a vibe. Like, I'm like, oh, finally got done reading. I told myself, I just want to finish reading this chapter. And I accomplish it, put it down, and get the sense of like, Kurasha, like Baraka, like favor from Yah. You can feel his presence, and they don't like that. They wanna maybe try to move that out, or maybe it was a little bit of a glimpse. Like I said, it's duality. It's all complex. But all of a sudden, I like laying down. I kind of just look over, and next thing I know, the woman and the man are doing things that people do privately in their bedroom, right next to me. They're not too far away. I can smell them, and and she's looking over like inviting me, like come on, like and I'm like, what? And yeah, she's inviting me over, and I hate, that's why I don't want to go here because I'm trying to figure out how to explain this without making it too weird, too graphic. But they wanted me to join, and yeah, I can't go further than that. Other than I almost did, I didn't. I'll just say that. But it was right there in broad daylight in the beach, and I knew it was demonic because I almost went for it, but then like nah, like because then I thought of the Ravager thing because that's what kept me in my mind. The enemy tried to put them on. I'm like, this is it. This is the fulfillment of what they did to you. You're gonna do to them. So now you're getting back. This is you know recompense. Right ruling, the verdict being served. You know at their expense of like voluntarily allowing it. But I'm like nah. But they're calling all the shots. This saying that this is like, oh, you can do that, but you can't do that. You can't, like nah, man. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it how I want to do it. And so I'm like, I'm not settling for this. I'm not gonna go with this. Like this thing, it's a glimpse. I took it as a way, like, you know, I think the enemy knows it's coming, and they're trying to get me to already have mine now, like my cake and eat it now. And the enemy operates through people, through, believe it or not. Like I've seen some crazy stuff, genealogies, bloodlines. Certain people are in pact. They have a pact. They're in covenant with the devil. But nonetheless, it was a type and shadow of it because I almost went for it. They were ready to let me do it, but there were certain things I could and couldn't do, and I was just like, nah, I'm straight. I don't want to do it like that. I want to do it on my terms. I want to do what I want to do. Like if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do it for my nation. Like that's I had the right mindset. Maybe it would allow me to be tested to see where my mind's at. Like, do I want it like, oh yeah, like just because, like you know, a white woman thing, or like I'm getting even, but I really want to enjoy it. Like I'm all into, like I'm excited. I'm like, oh, she's so fine, or this or that, and it's like, nah, praise yeah. Like as far as that paradigm goes, my mind was completely like this is for my people. You know what I mean? Like it was like gangster. I'm like immediately when I perceived what was happening, and then I thought like, wow, this is what I've been meditating on. Like the recompense of that, what was done to us, will do to them, and they're voluntarily giving it. Like I thought it would happen, but I'm like, nah, but this ain't the real thing. It's like when things are really getting bad, and they're gonna be like, however you want. Like it's gonna be on our terms, real like in a major way. Not like I won't give details, but it's like you can do this, but you can't do that, and I'm like nah. And it's like thank you for the glimpse, though. Thank you for trying. It's like how did they know I was having those thoughts? Like it manifested what I was already saying needed to happen, but me, yeah, and the enemy comes and inspires, influence, brings this couple, and they're like, "We see something about you. We want you to be the one." And it's like, I know what it is. The enemy's wanting me to get it now, so I can't, have it later. Like, either you live your best life now and you give it up, you give up eternity, or how Yahuwah wants to give you the recompense or the payback or the inheritance at the end. So I rejected it. I didn't go for it. And the lady was like, "Oh, you're so sweet. You're so kind. Like you're a great person. Like you. I can't believe like the way how you operate. It's like there's something special about you." And I was like, "All right, praise Yah. And but here's what's trippy. This happened twice in a row, 2 Mondays back to back. I remember because I had a certain tight schedule. Certain days I went here, I went to that feed, I went. So this was on a Monday. I remember that, and I'm like, all right, that was weird. Maybe that was just some weird coincidence. And I, mind you, I had been going to Black's Beach for like 5 years, 10 times the summer. None like this has ever happened. You don't even see people messing around the beach like that. Tell me why not just that Monday, but I come back again. Exact same thing happens, different couple, a young couple, younger than me. I go around the same area. I'm like, this is just my area, and I'm reading. Same thing kind of happens. All of a sudden, like I didn't even see him there. I look across and in the water, like on the shore. The girl bent over, like on the floors in a very provocative way, like they're doing a photo shoot, and they're kind of looking around towards me, and I'm already like, okay, let's go check this out. Like I'm not like, what are they doing? I'm like, man, I get up like praise yeah, like I own the place, like authority, like not like that, but like what I'm saying, like man, I got nothing to fear. I already know the projecting energy towards me to check it out, so I'm gonna go ahead and see what this is about. So I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm like, hey, I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, oh, just taking pictures and about to have some fun. I'm like, oh yeah, what kind of fun? And like, and I'm like, all right, yeah, yeah, and I'm like, y'all down or what? Like, I can play with y'all or what? And they're like, yeah, yeah. Just to see what they say. And they're like, all right, all right. I'm like, wow. I'm like, well, I'm gonna be right there. I'm gonna read my word for a little bit. Let them know I'm a believer. I'm gonna read my Bible. If y'all, if that's what y'all decide to do, let me know. Because they're just kind of playing, like, doing their thing in the water, like photo shoot. I don't know what. But I'm like, whatever. So I go back. Next thing I know, I see them come back, and they end up getting right next to me. Cause I go in the far back, you know, and they end up coming all the way, just not too far away, like to like that wall, or to that pole. They were like right there. So I'm like, all right. So then they start looking at me like the first couple did the week before, and I'm like, I go over there, and they pretty much have the same rules as the couple from last week. I'm like, man, is this the same couple? Like, is these demons in the flesh, like in a different form? Like they came older, now they come younger, and they're like messing with me, and like they're saying the exact same things. Some of the things they said were like very similar, and I'm like, what is going on? And but he was rubbing lotion on her, so they kind of let me feel edified because I know what to use. I brought coconut oil, like I had coconut. I use coconut oil for me, but that's how you get like still it's nice and slippery, and it's like yeah, and it was like he invited other dudes like hey if anybody wants to massage my chick, some guys came like yeah, and they was massaging her like oh it's getting weird, it's getting lame, and they're like oh it's so rough, it's so sandy, and like you probably need coconut oil, it works better, so I got the coconut oil. Everybody stood back and watched the master at work. I poured some coconut oil on her and I started massaging it into her, and then he gave me a little machine, you know what I mean, like here if you want to use it on her. I'm like nah, I'm straight. I turned it down. I was like I don't know why I felt the inclination to show her some compassion, and I just like massaged her leg, and I was like, you know about the word? like the Bible. And she's like, huh? And I just threw them off. I just rocked their world. Like they're like they didn't expect that, And I started talking about the Bible to them, the Word. I even brought that dynamic. I was like, yeah, this is part of the Bible that talks about how for the Israelites, like that you're gonna be made a remnant, a few people, and the curses that were put on you, like from the nations, like they ravaged your people and they killed, slaughtered, plundered, raped, pillaged, all that, will be put on them. So we're kind of like this is kind of like a version of that, like you wanting your girl to get messed with like this is like you the universe putting a verdict in on you, like ethics in on you to say this is what you deserve. Like this is like the right recompense to make things even. I just said it boldly. I don't care. They're like, dang, this dude don't care. I think that's why y'all chose me because he knew I'd say straight up. And like, yeah, now go spread the word. Like I just left them alone after that. I'm like, yeah, that's why y'all like the cuckoo and y'all's culture. Y'all like to see y'all's wives being like that because it's Hispanic cultures. We don't get down like that. Most cultures don't get down like that. And I think that's in y'all because y'all deserve that. It's the right recompense. And they're like, and then the way I said it was pretty cold too, all naked and everything. Everybody all naked, it just messed everybody up after that. And I went back to my word, todo chilling naked. You know what I'm saying? Reading like, mm-hmm, you know, Garden of Eden. And they just got up and left after that. They weirded them out. But nonetheless, yeah, man, they just wanted me to give all my energy. Remember the twerking thing at McDonald's I talked about earlier? You got to rewind. I think that was them trying to get me back for that. They're like, we'll get you back, because at McDonald's obviously you can't do all that. So, because pretty much a replay the same thing, only not twerking, just completely naked and but bend over in a type of twerk position, seeing everything. But they wanted me to spill seed for it and just watch and just, or touch but not, and just little things. And I'm like, man, nah. Like, and then it was weird because they always had like viewers around supporting cast members. When I'd go like back to my spot or walk around, somebody would always, the first time and the second time, and it was always like a hot chick. She'd be like, I saw you over there. You're looking kind of sexy. I wanted to join in. And like almost like to encourage me, like they wanted to encourage me, like that's the way I should live, like be confident to like do that. Because then I think they might have tried to one more other time, but I just stopped paying attention to that stuff at the beach, and that's when we turned it back into Garden of Eden, Mount Sinai. I'm like, nah, this is from the enemy. They're trying to pervert the image, the math, and if that recompense happens, I'll let Yah come back and do it. Let him initiate it. Like now's the time for that. But until then, I'm not touching it. And that was part of the temptation. Enemy try to make it like now's the time. Like nah, like it don't feel like now's the time. It don't feel like I'm getting it the way it should be. And if I did do it the way it should be, I'd be in jail for that too. And it's gonna be at a time where we're not gonna go to jail for it because that's the payback. That's the recompense because Yahuwah's gonna, over like administer it. That's all in the Bible. It's in the Word. All right. So nonetheless, I just want to get that out of my chest because I don't know what you think that was, but for it to happen twice, 2 Mondays in a row, right next to me, both times they were saying the same things. Either it's like people say, oh, they call it gang stalking with neighborhood, elite dark societies, government staging and planning and interacting with you in your life and just seeing your thoughts through AI and 5G and testing them, like just messing with you, seeing what you do, just having their own little fun. I mean, but that could be one version of it, but it's still, I say, demonic demons in the flesh manifesting. I know that for sure. I've seen them manifest, and they like I have a thought, and they'll laugh at it. Like I've had moments where like my thoughts are for the most part straight, but sometimes I'll actually mess up. Like I don't say certain words, because of the pagan. Even when I mess up on certain words, like when I'm thinking something, like, ooh, and like just the way it happens, it's almost like dorky, like funny. But they can't help themselves. Like just somebody just end up randomly laughing like in front of me, but it's like they rationalize it like they're laughing on something on their phone. Like, nah, you're laughing at my thought. You're laughing at what I just said or did or whatever. You know what I mean? If you've had those experiences of demons in the flesh because they're laughing at you. And I had moments where like I done burn myself. I done bang myself, but no one saw it. But then like someone's randomly laughing somewhere else, because they see it. Demons in the flesh. Shalom, man. So that's how they operate, and all we can do is keep the peace and be like, yeah, whatever. We're just waiting on Yah. Like they know that I know. They know I know. They know I know. And we're just waiting, because you gotta be peace amongst all men, even amongst the enemy in the midst, until Yahuwah brings the judgment, separates, and really shows who's who and what's what. I mean, sometimes it can be Malakim from Yah, Malakim with Shamaim above. So you don't know until you know. But I don't know, you know. I don't know. But I can only wonder. I can only discern what I'm seeing and wonder at it, like, and that's it, you know. Operating in another realm, projected on Earth realm. So that's how, a lot of it is, but trans realm. So like what I say is like, imagine all the other realms have a screen to it, like the council, the Senate, Star Wars, where she's talking, and all the universe ambassadors are there listening. That's how I think what I do operates. And so if someone's got something to say, then it interjects in my realm, and you see it projected on the phone, and that's why you see all the cosmic beings, because that's them manifesting their. Wait a second, I object. You see all the stuff, from all the realms projected on Earth realm, because I'm connected to them, like that. But that's it, praise Yah. Nonetheless, if I'm connected to them, I think Yahuwah, what I discern is Yahuwah's given me a little part of rulership in most of those realms, like authority. To have some inheritance, have some, like just like when people come from other nations, like when they visit an ambassador, they got them stay at the the council, the Chinese council house or wherever. Like, so we got like Shamayim realms, uh, you know, homes and dwellings and stuff for all the different realms that Yahuwah is allowing us to be a part of, to have access. And I think a lot of those realms have taken the vote on us, like they're like, yeah, man, we accept him, we like him, because they see the intent that we're trying to make it always fit the word of Yah. Like it can never break the commandments, can never break even the least command. We don't, like in our realm, our natural realms, so screwed up, and it's such a simple fix, but it's so blind at the same time. But it's like, yeah, like don't worry about it. We're gonna take you out of that realm anyways. Like God is a pagan word. It's in Isaiah 65:11, but people don't trust the word for being eternal. Not trusting the word. That the word is exactly what it said. Ain't that funny? Switch the lighting, see differently, right? That's how realms operate. You switch the angle, and all of a sudden it's like a different version of you. But yeah, Earth realm, like what Yahuwah's looking at is if you can just trust the commandments at face value and see how much you really trust him and it, and not give in to the peer pressure of the world and go according to the traditions of the world. Like do what the world is doing, because the entire world is doing it. That's the test. Like are you just wanting to be a part of the club, like be a part of the crowd and go with the current, or are you willing to stand out and be outstanding? Because to be outstanding means you got to stand out and do what you can see is the truth, regardless of what the world is doing. I don't try to make sense of how they're not making sense of it. I just make sense of the word for myself. It says, do this, I do it. It says, don't do this, I don't do it. Simple as that. One of the least commandments, Exodus 23:13, and all that I said to you, take heed and don't mention the names of other higher powers. Don't let their names come out of your mouth. And then Isaiah 65:11 says one of those names in their ancient times was even Gad, Gab, but it's pronounced with the Ah, God, God is pronounced the same. And it's an idol, fortune, prosperity. That's in Isaiah 65:11. It says, but you forsake Yahuwah and prepare a table for the idol, fortune, and prosperity named God, 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 same word you're saying. In Hebrew, it's spelled GAD, GD. but it makes an ah sound in between, which is like RGOD, if that makes sense. That's the same word, saying the same thing. And then an easy way to tell is just look up how is GAD pronounced in English or in Hebrew. How is GAD pronounced? It said GAD is pronounced just like GOD. It's the same deity, same false mighty one. So again, the least commandment, don't mention names of false powers. And then one of those false mighty ones, false powers, false idols is GAD, pronounced GOD, like GOD. It's exactly the same one. And then it says you prepare a table for God and a drink offering for Many, but they try to spell it Meni, many, but it's really man, like man. So in the same verse, Isaiah 65:11, which means lottery, like luck and destiny, and it's like that's right in front of us. Like what the heck? What is going on? That makes the word true, but to the world, it it discombobulates them. It makes the word true. When I read that, I'm like, this is proof the word is real. Because it says in the last days, it's a prophecy too about the last days. In their time, as they were saying, y'all forsake Yahuwah for GAD or GOD. And that's like nothing new under the sun. What has been it shall be again. Everything's a cyclical pattern. So it's speaking to us today. It's still relevant. It wasn't just about their ancient times, but our relevant times. We are those, not me, but the world are those people that forsake Yahuwah, his actual name, prepare a table for God, just like what it says. And then he showed it to people, and they're like, yeah, but because their bud is based on their tradition, their love of like what. Well, this is how we learn. Don't matter how we learn, matters what the book says. Because what we learn, our tradition is supposed to be based on the book. Like we only have what we believe because we think it's based on the book. But if you look at the book and find things that are actually wrong, wouldn't you correct that? If people that gave us our traditions found those things for themselves and found that they're wrong, they would have fixed it for us. And then we would have been following them right. But they had too much deception, too much blind, too much distraction, the games, too much other politics going on and they just weren't able to get around to it. And the enemy, Satan, is always working against the truth so that we don't see it. And then if we do, we wouldn't know what to do with it. We wouldn't care. You're supposed to care. You're doing what you're doing because you're claiming the intention is you want to follow the book, what it says to do, not follow a pastor, what a man tells you to do, or what tradition tells you. It's truth over tradition. You know, if you read throughout all the book, the problem that the Israelites had the entire time was they kept forsaking Yahuwah for the traditions of men, for the traditions of the nations around them. Same plot today. Nothing's changed, and we haven't even learned from their mistakes. And this is basic math. That's the problem. That's the sad part. It's basic math. But what can you do? 2 plus 2 equals 4. Don't mention names of false mighty ones. GOD, comes from a false mighty one too. Hey Zoop comes from Zoop, and Eases of Gaul and all those different versions of Zoop. Anything Greco-Roman is called by Zeus. I only say to teach. Ephesus, Tarsus, Pegasus, right? They're all called by Zeus. Dionysus, they all got SUS. J, Zeus, it means Hail Zeus. Nope, not me. I reverence Yahuwah, Yahusha, the true Hebrew. That's it. Proof is in the pudding. You just look up the Hebrew. What are the letters? What letters do this? What sound do the letters make? Yahuwah. Okay, cool. I got it. Yahusha. Okay. Oh, I see other people seeing the same thing. Oh, I see that that's how even Jehovah's Witnesses believed it was pronounced too. Yahuwah. They just wanted to make it sound more English, so they changed the Y to a J sound and the UA to a V. So Yahuwah became Jehovah. Nonetheless, they know it's Yahuwah too. Jehovah comes from Yahuwah. They just made it modern. But it's Yahuwah from Hallelujah. Praise Yah. When you say Hallelujah, that means all praise to Yah. So even Hallelujah has a name. That's the name of Yah, not JC. My people are called by my name. So how they call by his name? Obadiah, Jeremiah, Hezekiah, Isaiah, Josiah, Kumbaya, Kumbaya. Hallelujah, praise Yah. Yahuwah, he who is. Yahoo is he who is. Yahusha, he who saves. You see Yahusha and Hosanna. Hosanna is actually Hushana. Hushana. Husha, like Yahusha. Husha means salvation. Yahusha means Yah salvation. Hushana means save us, please. Na means please, na. When they say please, it's na. 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 Na means please in Hebrew, Abadi. So Husha na means save, please, or save us, please. Husha. So the people are like, where do you get Yahusha? We hear Yeshua, but we don't see Husha anywhere. I'm like, you kidding? Husha na, Hosanna. Look up Hosanna in Hebrew. It'll say Husha na, save please, salvation. So you know that Husha is salvation. Hosea, it's not Hosea, it's Husha. Husha ban of Nun. They say Hosea, his name was changed to Joshua. His name was Husha. The letters were Ha, U, Sha, A. And his name was changed to Yahusha. Not Joshua, Yahusha. And that's in Numbers 13:16. Look it up in the lexicon. If you look it up in the lexicon, you'll see the letters. Just study the Hebrew letters. Don't get confused with all the vowel points and all that. Oh, well, this makes an E sound and this makes a V sound because you switch it up and they're dancing around it. They're just trying to create lie over lie because they don't want you to know the true name. Because his name matters. If the name of Yahuwah, Yahusha didn't matter, why would Satan feel the need to change his name and add in the God title and the JC title if his name didn't matter? Because it does matter. Because that's the least commandment he's got us breaking, compromising. But my people, they know my name. My people shall know my name and declare my name, Yahuwah Yahusha. So that's the truth. And you see it coming out. You see a boxer. I posted it on my page, a UFC fighter. We got to have a UFC fighter for the world to believe us. Because when it's just us, we're crazy. But then when you get celebrities saying it, you got celebrities saying he wants to thank Yahusha. He says, Bahasham Yahuwah, or Baruch Atah Baruch Hasham Yahuwah, which Baruch means most exalted. Hasham, the name, most exalted be the name, Yahuwah. He says, Baruch Hasham Yahuwah, Yahusha. Live on UFC or whatever, and I don't even know who the boxer was, but I saw him praise Yah. He said Yahuwah. That's what we. So the truth is out. Celebrities are coming up hip to this. So I used to tell my ex-wife back in 2013, like, this is the truth, and the truth cannot be stopped. So you're gonna see this thing come up. It might take a while, but pretty soon the world's gonna know, and they're really gonna know when Yahusha comes back, and that's the name he's rocking by. He's gonna be like, J who? JC who? Oh, who's that? Because they got a false identity law done away with. You can eat pork and all that. He's like, when did I say that? I never said that. You know, he said the food that goes in your mouth in context shall never defile you. Granted, it's food. Pork is not considered food in context. That's why he casted the demons into the pigs to show that law still stands. If pork was still available, if he made it clean to eat, he wouldn't have done the demons in the pigs because he knew they were eating those pigs. They were pig herders. He's like, I can't eat this crap. You know what? He put the demons in the pigs so the pigs can jump off the cliff because he's like, you're not eating this no more. That was his way of cleaning out their refrigerator, cleaning out their table. Because unclean things go in unclean vessels. So he threw the trash, the demonic spirits in the trash can in the pigs. You don't eat the trash can, right? You don't throw a trash can on the grill and eat the trash can. So why you do the same thing with a pig? It might taste great, but that's the parable of sin. Sugar tastes sweet. You ask a kid, what do you want to eat? They'd say they want to eat cookies and cereal for the rest of their lives. But you don't let them because it's not healthy for them. Same with pork. We just don't see it that way because it doesn't show necessarily in a way that's measured the way other things are, because pork is toxic at the cellular level. It starts eating at your joints, your brain, all kinds of little things. They say people that eat pork are more susceptible to irritability, depression, like all the fleshly shortcomings. People that eat pork get stressed out more, depressed more, they're more susceptible to even bad dreams. I met a girl when I went to Michael's to get tassels. I went to get some tassels, and years ago, and she said, "Oh, you're Jewish?" I'm like, "No, I believe in Yahusha, and I just keep the commandments at the same time because we believe that he didn't do away with the law and the prophets. He came to raise the standard on them." And she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm on that page with not eating the pork though." Like, "Oh yeah, like what's that?" And she said, "Because I notice every time I eat pork, I have nightmares." Like, what? And there's a truth to that. Like, pay attention to those things. Like, when you eat pork, you might feel a little more irritable. You might have a little more of a susceptible to have headaches, or obviously, leads it causes high blood pressure and all kinds of things too. But you might feel a little different just from eating. You might have bad dreams. You might get that from sugar. I get that from sugar. I can't have like cokes anymore because if I have cokes, maybe because I did meth and it stimulates a little bit, but just from too much sugar, like cokes at night, I have like weird dreams. So I already know sugar's a stimulator for demonic realm stuff. Like sometimes when you see people on that sugar rush, those are some kind of like sometimes demonic inspirations, demonic, encouragements. Pushing in. Like I remember seeing little girls, man, eating sugar and they're dancing like on the floor like in ways they shouldn't be. Like it makes them feel already a certain way, like they're stripping around, like they're like you think they're like on a stage and like, what are you doing? And I've seen it happen a few times. It always happens around me. I have to check their parents, like, hey man, look at your kid, bro. Like I don't know why where'd you give them sugar? Because it's an obvious sugar rush, but they're doing the moving sexually, like bro, that gives them some kind of demonic spiritual inclination, encouragement, the way it makes them move like that. You don't give them no sugar like that, man. Don't be getting them cokes and all that. Too little for that. It's drugs. You know what I'm saying? It's meth. It's all the same. Sugar, meth. It's all related. It's all powder. White powder. Nonetheless, I think that's all I got. They want to share again those witnesses on some of those things I went through in the past, and to keep your mind on Yahuwah, Yahusha. Praise Him. When there's too much junk and shenanigans on Facebook, just start singing, push it out. You gotta muster it out. You gotta just like, you know, you gotta like push something out. Like, just focus on Yah. You just gotta like, I praise you, Yahuwah. Praise you for all you do. You are the way and the high and the true. I forever follow you. There's nothing in this world for me. Nothing that can feed me like you can, oh yeah. So to you I lift my hands. I give you praise, Yahuwah, for all my days. Everywhere that I go, I know I'm not alone. You're here with me. So I praise you, Yah, with my hands lifted high. Oh, for you have redeemed me through the blood of Yahusha and gave me high. For you've given me high. Yeah, you've given me high. Yeah. No matter what I'm going through, Yahusha, you're my peace through the night. You're my peace through the night. Yeah. You're my peace through the night. Yeah. Yahusha, no matter what I go through, you strengthen my fight. Yeah. You strengthen my fight. Yeah. You're at my right. Yeah. You're my sword to cut away all the confusions and lies. Yeah. All the delusions and lies. are nothing to you, Yah. For the grass withers and the flower fades, but the word of Yahuwah shall remain. Oh, we praise you, Yah, for all of our days, forever and ever. Amen. Amen. Praise Yah. We praise you with hands lifted high, with everything inside of our life. Praise Yah. We praise you, Yah. We praise you, Yahuwah. We praise you, Yah. No matter what comes our way, we praise you, Yah. Yahusha. We praise you, no matter what comes our way. We praise you, Yah. Till our life drops, till your resurrection comes. You know we won't stop praising Yah. We won't stop praising Yah. For you fill us with eternal peace, ahava, and joy. Without you, we would surely be spoiled. But you resurrect us, bring us into your truth. You make your face shine on us, your light we do consume. We feed on your word. We do what you say, 'cause it kills off the curse. We're reading through your scriptures. We read it verse by verse. Read it and try to live it best we can, 'cause you're worthy, oh Yah. Yeah, it brings eternal peace, love, and joy inside. You refine us like gold in the fire for all of our high. Yeah, through all of our high. Yeah, we give you praise, Yahuwah. For you are worthy of praises. For you we live and we die. Praise Yah. For you shall resurrect our beings, forever give us eternal high. Praise Yah. Anyways, praise Yah. Hallelujah. You will not believe the intrusive thoughts I was having. I was getting a little bit attacked. Not necessarily, it's just a lot of minor little things trying to throw me off and not let me focus. But that's all you do, man. You just like, it don't gotta be perfect. It just gotta be from right here, to Yahuwah, Yahusha, and let you experience your praise is fitting for the righteous, and praise comes through chakma, wisdom, from the experience, and know what this is all about and what he's all about, what he means to you, what he is to you, and making that distinction from the light and the darkness, and just sing about it, just let it flow out, and that's it. Sing to him a new song, every sorry that wasn't the best. I don't know why that happens. Like, I promise you, man, when I'm alone, I'm like, man, where was the mic when you needed it? But then it's like, I feel like Yahuwah gets the best. That's why. Maybe I get a little nervous under pressure slightly. I tried. I felt like I was fooling in myself, but I was somewhat subconsciously aware and so subconsciously nervous at a little bit of a level there. But still, nonetheless, I felt mostly completely focused towards Yah, just speaking truth, like praise Yah. I want to do it again. Like, you just come up with a new one. Let's come up with a new. Oh, here's another one. Oh, I think y'all heard this one before. It goes like this. Praise Yahuwah in the Baka Delilah. Praise Yahuwah in the Mayim, the fire. Yahusha the way, the high and the true. God is dancing like Magdahu. Praise Yahuwah in the Baka Delilah. Praise Yahuwah in the Mayim, the fire. Yahusha the way, the high and the true. God is dancing like Magdahu. Praise Yahuwah in the Baka Delilah. Praise Yahuwah in the Mayim, the fire. Yahusha the way, the high and the true. God is dancing like Magdahu. Praise Yahuwah in the Baka Delilah. Praise Yahuwah in the Mayim, the fire. Yahusha the way, the high and the true. God is dancing like Magdahu. Hey, praise Yah. But I have to be quiet because there's a lot of people around here, so I'm trying to keep it low. How you doing, man? Oh, that's your new scooter?
Yeah.
What? Sick, bro. Look at that. Look at that thing. That thing's. Woo.
That scooter goes like 30.
Wow. It goes what now?
It goes like 30.
Wow. 30 miles an hour?
Yeah.
That's not bad, bro.
That's pretty gnarly.
Yeah,
Started getting
yeah,
smart,
yeah.
you need
It
a
looks
helmet.
like it's ready to go off road.
Yeah. Doesn't get fucked up with all
Yeah,
road
that
cracks
looks
and
cool,
stuff.
man. Yeah. You still got the other one?
Yeah, I was gonna bring it.
All right.
I just couldn't. I forgot.
Oh, you don't have it here?
I don't have it here because I wrote it away, and then I brought this one back. I got dropped off with this one like in a box. I was
Oh,
like, oh
right on.
fuck, I don't have the other one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's nice though, man.
Yeah, I'll bring the other one back though eventually.
All right. That's cool, bro. Man, that's awesome, bro. It's pretty heavy?
Yeah, I mean, it's heavier than like. So I still haven't figured out how this thing walks
Yeah. Got like a little mechanism or something?
yet. Yeah.
Huh.
I usually just fold it and lock. Oh, ow.
Yeah.
Oh, there it goes.
Does it
This
get
was
it?
far enough, yeah.
All right.
It's,
Right
I
on,
mean,
man.
it's heavier than like the other little one,
Yeah.
but it's obviously bigger battery.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
It's
terrified to hit little cracks and shit.
this for like the headlights right here?
Yeah, you can turn them on and off.
Right on.
I think it's got fucking like. There's like lights all around it and shit, but I don't run them because it looks kind of goofy. But
Oh, yeah. At
Yeah.
night and stuff?
yeah, I think it's fucking quick, dude.
Yeah. Well, that's cool, man. Shoot. Yeah.
I would leave it. I want to find the plug on the outside of the house.
Yeah, I think in the backyard maybe there might be.
There is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Leave it out. Yeah, it's pretty secure here. Yeah, head back in right now. You going inside? You go for it.
I'm supposed to go buy a vape. I always have to look at it.
All right. Well, enjoy, man. Be safe. We're gonna come out and do a little praise thing again. I'm trying to keep it low, you know. I got a little, all kind of little nervous ticks, subconscious things right now making me nervous. You know, I don't want to get too loud. Normally, I'd be out on the street. When I praise, I wait till I get on the street where I can just yell out and like sing loud in the middle of the street, like walking as. All right, that was like delayed for like a minute almost. So that I'm gonna let y'all go because I'm gonna take that as a sign from Yahuwah. Nonetheless, we're gonna have to do that one day. I want to show you how to really get down. You know what I mean? Like I'll be out here praising, man. Like and it's a great thing. And I always, what I'm trying to do is get myself to focus because I don't care when people think or what they say around here. For some reason I care a little bit when it's on Facebook because I'm kind of holding the device of like people that of something that connects me to people. So I'm very aware of people at that point. But like when I'm walking, I'm not holding on nothing that's connecting me. I don't know if they're listening. I don't care. Like they're just far away. I get in my world. I get in my own zone. So I'm not paying attention. I'm just focused on me and yeah. And sometimes I preach to people, but I'm like thinking about the message. I'm thinking about what Yahuwah wants me to say. But I don't know the phone on the phone thing doing it. Maybe because it's in that gray area of like doing it for others to show off, or I don't know. But I don't want to do it to show off. I just want to praise together. So I'm gonna train my mind to like discipline. Like, hey, when I'm doing this, it's because we're praising y'all together. So I'm imagine like y'all are dancing with me, y'all are praising, and just like, look how I praise y'all. It's like, hey, we got to praise y'all together. That's the weapon. Get into it. Make a song. Hey, like whatever kind of music you like. I like sometimes doing little Mexican cumbia beats because that just seems ancient and traditional to me. So like I'll make music to be honest, like a lot of times with like a cumbia rhythm or something. But and nonetheless, sun's going down. I wanna do something now, but I already got the cue. Yahuwah block that out. Like let's wrap it up, save it for next time. So next time we'll do a little praise and reverence service together, and just get on our praise because the world is getting dark. The world is starting to get like this, and we just need to be them stars that shine at night. Feel me? We got to be like the stars that shine, the kukabin that shine at night. I don't like the word star because it's got the same thing as one of the idols' name is Ishtar, like star, and you even hear it in Easter. Ishtar, Easter, and then it's even when they say east because it's like the direction of the sun because they worship the sun. So it's east is actually the word from Easter or Ishtar or star, So they use that word or that deity's name for a lot of pagan for a lot of words, star, east, Easter, Eastar, Eastar, star. So Hebrew kukabim. We gotta shine like the kukabim. That's the Hebrew word for stars. We gotta shine like the kukabim in the night. You know, we gotta shine like that right there. Getting our praise on. From now on. So I'm gonna let you go. With that, Yahuwah barak you, favor you, increase you, guard you, protect you, and strengthen you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you, be compassionate and favorable towards you. Yahuwah lift his countenance, his presence, and essence upon you, and give you shalom, and fill you with the light to the nations and the light to one another. That we sharp. Got it. All right. The camera keeps cutting off. That's Yahuwah telling me just make it quick. Learn to be quick on. Don't always have to be so nice and articulate on the palal out. So shalom, shalom, yashara, shalom, shalom, mashpaka. Ahabata. Love y'all, and I have a shalom till next time. Shalom.